Well, a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Flight Deck Sim live stream today. It's the 22nd of July, 2024, 4 minutes past 3 in the afternoon, back in X-Plane 12, and we're finally replicating the Alaska Milk Run. This is flown by Alaska Airlines as of present day, but it started off in the 1930s. It serves many small little destinations along the Alaskan coastline, and we'll be flying, I think it's flight 67, so it's over 4 sectors, but we're doing it over 2 streams because it would take me a very long time today. This is my first public live stream in about 3 weeks as well. I've had a chest infection. I've been off work for a week. I'm actually on some annual leave now. I've almost got rid of it. I've been on antibiotics the past week. You could probably hear it in my voice. It's still a little bit croaky, still coughing occasionally. It's been a real nasty one, but I am at least on the right side of this now, at least. And I went to the Royal International Air Tattoo yesterday in RAF Fairford. An amazing time. First time I've been to a military air show in quite some time indeed. And here we are anyway, live time, live weather in Seattle. It's, I don't know what the local time is here. It's early on in the morning. The sun rose around an hour or two ago. It's a bit of drizzle around. First flight's going to be taking us to, excuse my pronunciation, Ketchikan, flight to around an hour and 30 minutes, and then we'll do a very short flight over to Sitka, which will take about 40 minutes. We've got an ILS approach on the first one, an LDA approach on the second. I'll do my best to follow these US charts on our way to Anchorage, and then tomorrow, hopefully, well, I should be in the PMDG 737 in Microsoft Flight Simulator to do the next 2 sectors. Anyway, let's zoom on in towards the latest version of the ZIBO Mod 737, which I installed this morning. Let's see who we have in chat this afternoon. We have hashtag UPort, Lucifer, hope you're doing well. Afternoon, everyone. Martin B, happy to see you back here. Thank you very much. Dante is here too. Welcome back, Captain. Good to see you. Brendan, thank you very much. You're 15 months as a member. Avenue Captain, are you feeling any better? Yes, I'd say I'm 90%. 90%. If you listen to my last stream, the members stream I did last weekend, not this weekend, the weekend before, I really wasn't 100%. I felt a bit better on Monday. I went flying, but after that duty, I had to call in sick, and then I went to the GP and said, "Yep, you've got a chest infection. It's a bacterial one. We need to get you on antibiotics." And I was signed off for the week. So I've just been resting and recuperating. It's the worst cold I've ever had. The worst I felt was COVID, perhaps 2 years ago, but I did a COVID test, all negative COVID. It's just been a real strong cold or maybe flu. Like I said, it was a bacterial chest infection. It's just clearing all that goof now out of my throat and chest. Martin B's here, hope you're doing well. Steve M, afternoon cap, hope you're feeling much better. Feeling much better, thank you. Yunes Ball, he's here as well. James F. Bruno, just to name a few. Aaron Hastings, good to see you, Captain, hope you're feeling much better. I'm feeling fine, thank you very much. Oleg, hi from Ukraine. Oleg, is it you behind the Northern Sky Studios? Yes, I forgot to mention this. Northern Sky Studio, I purchased some X-Plane 12 scenery, their Sitka scenery, sorry, their Ketchikan scenery. Then I got in contact with the dev, and they very kindly sent me the scenery from Microsoft Flight Simulator, which will preview next stream. So we're utilising stock Seattle scenery here, and then Ketchikan, our first destination, is scenery from Northern Sky Studio, and then we've got standard X-Plane scenery for Sitka. But tomorrow, Sitka and Juneau is all from Northern Sky Studio. Why do I want to keep saying blue? I think it's Blue Sky or something like that. Anyway, let's zoom on in towards the aircraft and jump into the ZIBO mod. I'm not as good as I was once spawning into the aircraft, but there we go. Latest version of X-Plane 12. I'm enjoying the improved lighting, but there is a weird little glitch here through the glass of the terminal, or the air bridge here in Seattle, but the lighting, the cockpit lighting, isn't great. It sort of looks like most of the time I'm flying in heaven. It's very bright outside, very dark in the cockpit. I believe the devs are working on that for an update to come soon. They are well aware it is an issue, and you'll see today there's areas of the lighting which do need to be worked on regarding the cockpit lighting. Who's this? Weatherman They, thank you very much. You're 5 months as a member. Hope you're feeling better. Yes, feeling much better. Thank you very much. Tim, hope you're doing well. I was at the air show yesterday with my son. Excellent day. It was awesome, Tim Fraser. Nice to see you here. Long time subscriber of the channel. Yep, first air show I've been in 10 years. I think the last time I went was actually when the React was at Waddington, RAF Waddington. I haven't actually been down to Gloucester and Fairford for years, but yeah, we saw the Red Arrows, the Harrier. First time I saw the F-35. They had a brand new F-15 with fly-by-wire, which was thrown around the sky. It looked like the F-22 Raptor, which is awesome. I did took some I did take some videos. They're all on my Instagram story. It's a bit of a video bomb. I might upload some here, but there's so many professional videographers out there who make excellent videos at all these air shows. I'd have no chance in matching their expert quality. Thomas, hope you're doing well. Hi, Captain. Hope you're recovering. I'm on the mend there, Thomas13. Thank you very much. Eunice, I'm curious, what's your rudder response curves for the ZIBO mod? It's just stock. I'm not a fan of just fiddling around and playing with everything because I'm not very confident in getting the exact feel. Thankfully, the people behind the mod and the people that make the PMDG 737, all these aircraft, fine-tune all the settings, so I pretty much plug and play, and it feels reasonably good to me. You're never going to exactly match how you're going to have the aircraft handle in real life. Dennis, that looked well good from your Facebook story. Very good, thank you, Dennis. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, it was really, really awesome. Anyway, let's get the show on the road. We'll get some electrical power connected to the aircraft, so battery on, GPU on the bus, electric hydraulic pumps are on, landing gear lever is down. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green lights, and then we check all the aircraft documentation to make sure we are legal. Let's do the fault and fire tests. When was the last time I did a public ZIBO mod stream? It must have been absolutely ages ago. Let's check the squibs, they're all good. Faults, we've got fault APU detector in op, master caution overheat detector down there. Let's do the fire test. Fire warning bells going off, the fire warning lights, the master caution overheat detector, engine overheat, and the wheel well fire light has illuminated. Emergency exit lights are armed. We'll push the tend button. A little bit about our routing today. Here we are in Seattle, routing northwest, departing from, what's the state? I can't remember the state of Seattle. Sorry, all my friends over here. Is it Washington? I like to say, but I can't remember. And then northwest here to Ketchikan. That's around an hour, 35 minutes. Look at this leg here, 446 miles. Very long straight line, but it's exactly what they fly in real life looking on flight radar. And we're expecting to depart runway 16 left, which is what they're using in Seattle right now for takeoff. I've got the little plug-in or thing downloaded from SimBrief, so if we go to fuel weight balance, airside services, and press load OFP, this loads in the operational flight plan from SimBrief. The minimum fuel is 8312. So the weather here in Seattle, as I said, it's drizzle, not that nice. But our destination, Ketchikan, it's actually very nice. The weather wasn't so good a few days ago, but we can expect runway 11, which is the approach with the ILS on there. It's light and variable winds. The forecast is for overcast clouds at 6,000 feet and good visibility. So it's really nice. So let's just take standard flight plan fuel. We'll just round that up to 85. Which would be the block fuel we'd call for at my operator. We'll activate that. That's going to connect the air bridge, start the boarding, and start the refueling process as well. Yes, I knew Steve Everett would come to me. Washington is correct. Alaska is a great airline, absolutely based leg bob, but we have been chartered by Alaska Airways to run the Milk Run route flight 67 for them this week. With their lack of aircraft or something. Alpaca Airways, we have thousands in our fleet. There we go. Steve, yeah, you sound better for sure. Funny enough, I've just finished a course of antibiotics too. Now we can both enjoy a beer again. I've not had an alcoholic drink for a while. I've been flushing my body with water and hot drinks, but you can probably hear us still a little bit nasally. So if I do, breathe in, it doesn't sound gross. I do apologise, but I'll try and pause the mic or mute the mic whilst I cough and sniff. But it's certainly, if you compare to last stream, I felt awful after that one. Cool, where did we get to? So we did all the tests up here. Flaps are up, which match the indicated position. Cargo fire test. Forward aft, discharge, the fire warning belt and the light is illuminated. Lighting's all good, rudder and aileron trim is 3 and 0. Gear extension doors closed. Circuit breakers are all in here. The noisy cleaners are back. Pop on the voice recorder. We need to wait a little bit longer before we can perform the stall warning test because of the AC power needs to be on for 4 minutes. Flight recorder's done. Mach airspeed warning test is done. Aft observers panels all set. IRS to nav. We've got ELT fitting now. We'll leave that in the arm position. Yes, I'm a real pilot. Circuit breakers are all in. Check the tech log. Aircraft is fully serviceable and the safety equipment is all installed. Very, very good. You need an alpaca tinny. What's that base leg, Bob? Alex, evening from Southeast Asia. This is a great way to end a long Monday. Thank you very much for popping in, Alex. Whereabouts in Asia are you? Cool. So obviously there's no ATC here. Local time in Seattle is early on the morning. I've been told by Auto ATC to squawk 3477 just in case AT does come online.
Fuel is all loaded up and you are good
and
to go.
It apparently helps identify our flight. So that's done. Fueling's done, so we'll pop on the seatbelt sign and let's now grab the latest weather conditions. So we'll get it off Navigraph here. Weather. So Seattle, it's what's MVFR? You have IFR, VFR, MVFR. Is it like marginal VFR? Is that what it stands for? I've seen that on there a few times, but that does look marginal. Light wind from the south, 7 statute miles, drizzle, overcast, 14 degrees, and the altimeter is 3011. So we'll set that now. Altimeter 3011. We're in the US, so let's flick that over to that. 3011. The elevation here in Seattle is 432 feet, so that's pretty much looks good here, and we'll set an MFRA of 1,400 feet. Oops, set that now. God, these cleaners are so loud. Perfect, and now we can load up the FMC. We've got the useful sync the flight plan feature, which we'll use with Navigraph here. So we're in Seattle, which is Kilo Sierra Echo Alpha. GPS left, and we'll request a flight plan from SimBrief. MVR for night visual flight rules. Yes, MVFR is for marginal. Very, very good. Alex, you're in Da Nang in Vietnam, doing a course at uni here for a few weeks. Very cool, Alex. That's awesome. What's the weather like there now? Very humid in that part of the world, isn't it? Right, let's load this in. Pete Rich, thank you very much. Hope you're doing well. 51 months as a member. A mere 51 months. Good thing we're on a milk run. Milk consumption in my house is an all-time high. Yes, Pete Rich, you've recently become a father? I believe you'll be getting through your milk very quick. Is that what you're referencing to? Hope you're doing well anyway. And thank you very much for popping into today's stream and moderating for a very short while. Very hot and very humid, of course, Alex, of course. Excellent. So, let's now activate that. Execute, just want to make sure we've got the departure in. So 1-6 left, a banger 9, and then it's going to be the transition into Ketchikan ILS Zulu 11. This airport's really cool, and Northern Sky Studio have got this really well modelled with regards to taxiway. The taxiway dips down below the airport, which I'll show you some pictures of. The transition will be via Alpha November November. Look who has just arrived, burrowing behind me. You're right there, mate. He's just trying to make himself a little comfy bed. He has no idea he's being watched. Look, he's getting all his bed out, look. Jack, do you want me to move your bed out from under the desk? Is that what you want me to do? Do you want me to move the bed out? Is that what you're doing? Look, you've moved the entire bed. You usually sleep there, but you don't want it in there, do you? Right, hold on. Let me just move Jack's bed. I think he's not very comfortable under the desk. Do you want to go back here? Look, Jack, here. Just 2 secs, guys, but I do have to prioritise the needs of my only son. Oh, excuse me. I was having a coughing fit, but can I just show you something really funny? He's put himself underneath that. There he is. I just put that down, and then he just decided to lay down like that. But he decides how he wants his bed. Oh, so much for the mute. Sorry about that, guys. I'm still not 100%. 2 seconds. Sorry guys, I'm still muted. Oh. Oh dear, I've just been talking non-stop for the last sort of 3 minutes. Oh dear, I was saying basically I've had a coughing fit, I feel much better, and now I'm going to do the takeoff performance calculator, and I forgot to unmute the mic. Everyone knows how professional my stream is. Gosh, your voice is really gone now, unbelievable. Jack might have ended our stream absolutely muted. Yeah, thanks guys. What I need above my monitor is like a big light which comes on when the mic's muted. Oh dear. As I was saying, I'm just doing the takeoff performance calculation for you guys. Winds are in, and this is saying we can take from runway 16 length, left full length, just put the top of climb ISA in, plus 10. This is saying 16 left, so full TO, full takeoff 26, with an assumed temperature of 52. Doesn't give you the M1 here, but we'll accept 92.3. Takeoff flap 5. CG is in. We'll set the trim in a second. Speeds are 42, 42, 48. Can you... Yeah, these are wet speeds as well. Big difference here with V1 then with wet speeds. 142, 133. Wow. We'll go with the lower. Usually we'd only go ever off the OPT, but I think that hasn't made any change here for the wet speeds. Usually it's lower. So 142, 148 will accept. So it's close enough, it's ballpark. It's a great little basic performance tool, but I found it's not always matching the OPT. But it's okay, it's better than nothing. I think if your performance is marginal, it will increase your thrust to ensure that you don't go off the end of the runway during your takeoff run at least. But there we are, performance is done. We'll just set the trim, 5.5 units. And 146 knots. We need an "Are you a real streamer" sticker. Unbelievable. No, we don't. I'm a pro. 148 knots is set. Perfect. Right, let's just do the panel scan up here. How much fuel have we got in the centre? 700 kilos. We'll leave the centre tank pumps off until we get to 10,000 feet. Just stops the master caution fuel light coming on during the takeoff roll. That's all set. Cruising at 36,000 feet. I think the landing elevation is 100 feet. We'll double check shortly. At the steady. Flight director's on. The runway QDM for runway 16 left. We'll just put that on the heading and course. It's 164 degrees. Perfect. Stop altitude's 5,000 feet on the Banger 9 SID. I believe... Oh, it's actually a Sunway ATC. We'll set 5,000 feet initially. Order brake to RTO, reset fuel flow. That's all good. FMC set up. Cargo and fire test is done. Did I set the trim? I didn't. 5.5. There we are, that's set. Radio tuning panel's all good as well. Sweet. Who's this? What did they do to Sam? I'm still here, Kat. I'm still here. Indie dev streaming 40 minutes. Very good. I don't know what they were about to announce. That's pretty cool. Robin, you're in the Delta. Delta 8320 next to me. Oh, yes. Very good. There's someone else here on that sim. Are you coming with me to Ketchikan? Feel free to do so. Steve said, don't worry about it. It's just nice to know you're getting better. It's not your streaming skills. No, that was a bit... Because I was doing quite well, and it transitioned well with the music, and you couldn't hear me. Right, I best just do a light test. And check the oxygen. We'll run the checklist. Perfect. Cool. Right, just before we run the checklist, though, better just do a quick briefing, hadn't we? So I'm on stand November 15. We're going to push back here to face north, and then we'll taxi out via Whiskey or cross over to Bravo somehow. All the way, full length via Charlie. I might take Delta. There's been a slight issue with the ortho. It's a bit upslope this part here, but there is sufficient runway length available. So departing on the southeasterly, and then the Banger 9 SID for 16 left says climb on runway heading 164 till 932 feet, which is coded in the FMC. Then to Cavob, track 166, 181. We've got 167, and then Remby at above 3,000. Checks in the FMC, and then on depicted route to Banger. Cross Banger at 10,000. So we've got Richer, Tomo, then Banger 10,000. We'll be approaching our cruise level at that point anyway, so that's all good. SID's in, Routing's in. Let's now do the safety inspection and before start checklist.
Safety inspection checklist. Surfaces and chocks.
Checked.
Maintenance
Hi Burns, hope
status.
you're doing well.
Checked.
Battery.
On.
Jamie, no, it
Electric
shouldn't
hydraulic pump.
if you try to
On.
raise the gear.
Landing gear lever.
You'd have to use the
Down.
override lock here,
Six
this little red
library.
lever, look.
Checked.
Safety inspection checklist complete.
Right, let's do the before start checklist.
Before start checklist to the line. IRS mode selectors.
Nav.
Cough
Gear
drops, I
pins.
know. I've got some,
Removed.
what's it, stuff
Light
downstairs.
test.
Checked.
Oxygen.
Tested 100%.
Yaw damper.
On.
Nav transfer and display switches.
Normal and auto.
Fuel.
So let's just check the operational flight plan. We require 8312 and we have 85 on board and
Checked.
Fuel pumps.
4 pumps on.
perfect.
Cabin util IFE galley power.
On.
Emergency exit lights.
Armed.
Fasten belts.
On.
This is what I
Window
made
heat.
earlier.
On.
Ground to
Air
cockpit,
conditioning.
plan acknowledged.
Flex auto,
Call me
leads
through
on.
the menu when you are ready.
Perfect, so that's all set. Pressurization, we've got 360 for the cruise. Land elevation is 100 feet. It's 92 feet, so that's all good. And set. Has that not worked?
Set.
There we go.
Pressurization mode selector.
Auto.
Instruments.
Cross checked.
Auto brake.
RTO.
Hydraulics.
Ground to
Normal.
cockpit, tow is
Speed
driving
brake.
up.
Down D10.
Parking brake.
Perfect.
Stab trim cutout switches.
Normal.
Wheel well fire warning.
Checked.
Radios, radar and transponder.
Perfect. So that is set and
Set and standby.
perfect.
Rudder and aileron trim.
3 and 0.
Takeoff briefing.
Discussed.
PA.
Not doing a PA, still not 100%.
Complete.
FMC CDU.
That is takeoff page, my side legs for Jim.
Set.
N1 and IAS bugs.
Not again.
Uh oh. Auto. V speeds are good. 140. Oh.
N1 and
Very
IIS
good.
auto. V-speed set.
Stab trim.
Set.
Performance
Seattle
weight
scenery
and
stock.
balance.
Stock explain 12.
Checked.
EFB.
Okay,
Airplane mode
all doors and
installed.
hatches are closed.
Phones.
Ready to connect.
Flight deck windows and cockpit door.
Closed.
Doors.
Closed.
Passengers.
Seated.
Perfect.
Before start checklist completed to the line.
Excellent. So someone asked a question there. What does below the line and above the line mean? So this is the checklist here, and this is the line checklist. So it usually divides elements of certain checklists. So we have the before start checklist. So basically, the before start checklist to the line configures the aircraft ready for pushback. The below the line part of that checklist is configuring the aircraft for the pushback. The same we have is on the before takeoff checklist. We have a line too. So if I bring up the control column, you can see it here. Look, here's the line. So again, you do the before takeoff checklist. When you say before takeoff checklist to the line complete, the aircraft's configured ready for takeoff. Then below the line is configuring the aircraft for takeoff. So they're the only line elements on the before start and the before takeoff checklist, if that makes sense. Excuse me, guys. Perfect. So, no ATC on VATSIM here. Slicksby on VATSIM, yes. You missed the COVID test negative. Brilliant. I did a COVID test. It was negative. I did think I had put COVID for a second.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go. Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Good. So I've got the bleed on, anti-collision light on, parking brake set, transponder is in, out, off. And I also have New Sky already up and running, just to show you here. Don't know why it's not showing you New Sky, even though I've opened it. There you go. So you can see the flight's already running here. To grade us for our virtual airline Alpaca Airways. Cool. Let's just do the below the line checklist.
Before start checklist below the line. Air conditioning packs.
Off.
Anti-collision light.
On.
Parking brake.
Set.
Transponder.
Alt off.
Before start checklist complete.
Excellent.
Starting pushback. And you may start engines.
Martin, could you show how you would program the engine out SID? So yeah, an engine out SID is a specific routing to... Oh, I've done it again. I did that last stream. I'm such a noob. Such a noob. Yaw damper, V2. Ah, 140. What is wrong with me? 146. I'm not looking at chat. Not looking at chat. I did that last stream. I'm out of touch. You'd be pleased to know it's pretty difficult to do that in real life. Come back screens. Who chum saw that coming at least? Right, starting engine number 2. Ah, there we go. All in business. Blame it on the drugs. Yeah. I'll blame it on the drugs. All those sweet, sweet antibiotics. Oh, dearie me. N2. Oh, pressure. N1. Oops. Don't you have to realign the IRS when that happens? No, the left IRS is powered off the AC standby bus, so you have always have at least the left IRS as long as you've got battery power. The right IRS, you've got 5 minutes of DC power, and then you'll lose the right IRS. So it's all good, as long as you restore AC power in 5 minutes for the right IRS. Starting out, monitoring engine number 2. 2 stable, starting engine number 1. There's the Delta pushing behind as well. N2. Oil pressure. N1. 25% N2. Fuel in. Try and check the spar valve if you can. Perfect. Introverted Goose. Have you tried Route 2 in the ZIBO recently? Tried to use it the other day and it deleted my route when I landed. I've
Operation
not
complete. Set parking brake.
tried it recently. I did a little test sector.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Started coming out, monitoring 1, 2, 4, 6, 3, 1 stable. I did a little test sector, and VNav is working well on the approach phase, the final approach phase, but prior to that, it's a bit buggy. Seems to be a few little issues here, and the pitch on departure felt very lacking in pitch on one of the test sectors I did as well. So again, it's just ZIBO's trying to keep up to date with all the X-Plane 12 updates as well, I think. Is that a hover tug? I didn't notice. Seems to be glued to the ground. It's raining, but I don't have any rain effects on the window, unfortunately. John, not sure as a passenger that I would like to hear the pilot say "oops."
Hand signal on the right. Well, see you next time and have a safe flight.
Yeah. I often make that sound. If you ever fly with me and put your ear on the cockpit door, you might hear things like this all the time. I forgot where my oops soundboard thing is. I do have a oops. Who knows where it is? Perfect. You can see that nice bloom lighting. That's great. Right, tow bar scene. Excellent. Let's do the before taxi flight. Probes on. It's not icing conditions, just a damp day. That's all set. Flaps 2, 5. Jack's absolutely zonked, fast asleep behind me. Flight controls, forwards, back, left, right. Here comes the rudders, right and left. Cool. Recall, I've already blanked the lower DU. Let's do the before taxi checklist.
Before taxi checklist. Generators.
On.
APU.
Off.
Start switches.
Continuous.
Probe heat.
On.
Anti-ice.
Off.
Air conditioning.
PAKT auto. Bleeds on.
Isolation valve.
Auto.
Flaps.
Flips 5 required and selected. Green light.
Stab trim.
Set.
Start levers.
Idle detent.
Perfect.
Flight controls.
Checked.
Recall.
Checked.
Before taxi checklist complete.
Excellent. No ATC, so we'll just unicom our intentions and go from there. Let me just make sure I can hear VATSIM. I think I did hear some of the traffic talking, but I've got it turned up anyway. Seattle. I can hear my own voice. Did you hear that? What's going on? How do I not hear my own voice? What is going on, guys? Oh, look, it's because I've got 122.8 on there. Seattle traffic, Alpaca 1 Mike Romeo, taxiing to runway 16 left via Whiskey, then Bravo. I heard my own voice, that was quite weird. Right, let's check clear left, clear right, do a config check. No config warning horn, and about 35%. On our way. like a good X-Plane 12, wasn't it? Oh, CTAF. Oh, gosh. United States of America. 119.9. Okay. Seattle traffic, Alpaca 1 Mike Romeo, taxi into runway 16 left fire, Whiskey and Bravo. It's basically the same, isn't it? So I think I'm just going to have to cut across.
Roger, Seattle traffic, Delta 3752, taxi Whiskey Bravo, and onto 16 left, Seattle traffic.
Is that, what was that? I don't know, is that other traffic, I think? Vertical access, dumb question, not at all, and I know what you're asking there. Do you ever use the wing light in my ZIBO mod? It triggers an announcement. Yes, I sometimes use it here to trigger the announcement to say cabin secure, but the wing light is used to observe the leading, oh my goodness me, off-roading, to observe the leading edge of the wing at night for icing, and the use of wing anti-ice. A few puddles. I like how it pulls where the concrete slabs are, that's quite cool. See their reflections as well in the puddles. Does look good. Miguel, speaking of icing pitot heat, after electrical trip, no, that shouldn't trip with the pitot, with the loss of AC power. But only the captains are heated with battery power. It's not on the standby power system. Let's do the before takeoff checklist.
Before takeoff checklist to the line. Config.
Checked.
Flaps.
Flips 5 set, green light.
Stab trim.
Set.
Takeoff briefing.
So, overhead panel, PAKT auto, bleeds on, V-speed set for departure, 33, 42, 46. And that's set the MCP. The departure is the Bangor 9 RNAV SID. It's going to be climbing straight ahead until we get to 932 feet. Once we're there, we're going to go to Kavov, Remby, then Richer. Stop altitude 5,000 feet initially. We'll treat it as NADP2, so I'll accelerate at 1,400 feet. Any problems, I'll climb straight ahead. In fact, I might make a slight right turn to get away from any built-up areas. And over the what's this water called? By the west of Seattle? I'm not so sure. We'll go that way, and we'll climb to 3,000. And yes, just as vertical access was saying, we'll now say reviewed, and we'll flick this light to get the cabin secure sound from the cabin crew. It's a little bit uphill here by the looks of it.
Okay, the cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
Excuse me. Good.
Reviewed.
Cabin.
Secured.
Before takeoff checklist completed to the line.
Excellent. So we're coming up to intersection Echo. We'll take the next one here.
Traffic, Alaska 2095.
Fire Delta.
66. We'll take Whiskey and Bravo, 16 left.
And we'll just make sure that we are all clear on final. Good, no one's there. Yeah, this is where the ortho tile's done a bit of a thing. It's gone a bit downhill here. Seattle Sound, or is that a silent G? Puget Sound or Puget Sound? I don't know. Cool. Seattle traffic, Alpaca 1 Mike Romeo is lining up and taking off runway 16 left. Perfect. So no one's on final. Oh, I zoomed into the bolt. Well, we've got to be a bit careful here because it's massively sloped due to ortho. Look at it. My attitude's at like below -2.5 degrees. It's crazy. Very good. So let's do the checks below the line.
Before takeoff checklist below the line. MCP.
Set.
Transponder.
TARA.
Strobe lights.
On.
Landing lights.
On.
Before takeoff checklist complete.
Perfect. All good. Right, Toga's in chat. Let's go to Ketchikan in Alaska for Sector 1. Try to line up on the runway. There we are. That's all stabilised. Oh gosh, a bit uphill here. Set takeoff thrust. I forgot my timer, don't I? I'll get it.
Seattle traffic, Delta 3752, line me up, runway 16 left, right Delta, high departure traffic, Seattle traffic.
80 knots.
Checked. Release the forward pressure and turn your timer on. Hands off.
Rotate.
Lovely takeoff roll. Increase the back pressure to dead bank, keep the wings level. Lovely. Positive climb, gears up. Very nice and trim.
$400.
And down now. Can't beat it.
1,000.
There we are, so we'll bug up, lower the nose. So again, the flight director bar should come down quicker than it is to accelerate the aircraft and clean up, whilst still allowing a very shallow climb. So pitching nose down, trimming nose down as we accelerate. Above V215, we'll select flat 1. 15 degrees, so we're not in icing conditions. There's the lift, loss of lift from flat 5 to 1, so that's realistic. Again, it's commanding a slightly higher altitude than it should. Only slightly though. Flaps up. Yes, X-Plane's now got into heaven mode, where you continue flying and you fly into heaven. You can't see outside. Oh, we just got out the cloud actually. There we are, so flaps up, no lights. We'll gauge command A, VNAV, and there's no ATC, so we'll go straight up to our cruise level of 360. I'll wait until 18,000 feet, because it is the US way. I'll see 4,100 for flight level 360 after takeoff checklist. Gear off, auto brake off. Air conditioning and pressurization 1.5, climbing. Set. And on the local pressure setting 3011 after takeoff checklist is complete. We are making the right turn, initially westbound, then northbound on the Banger 9 departure. Sweet. Oh, the sounds are super. Love the flyby. But the cockpit lighting just, again, too dark. So if you like this, look how it's just very difficult to see things inside. No milk today, alpacas run away. Brilliant, Listerman. AJ says that's Hillstar, gonna have to ride the clutch a little bit. You can smell that burning clutch smell. It was a bit steep. Yunez, what do you find to be a good visual reference point in the cockpit to stay on the centre line whilst taxiing? Well, when you hear this da-dum, 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 that means you're on the middle, and then look outside. Honestly, I know in the sim that's quite hard. And then you begin to have an idea of where it is, but it just runs sort of down your right leg. Just outside your right leg. Turn the monitor brightness up, just joking, brilliant. Terry, great question. When the sun hits the caution lights, they look illuminated in the sim. Would you be able to see the caution lights in sunny conditions? Yeah, it's very bright. So if I push recall, yeah, I mean, that's sort of, it would pop up quite obviously. In the middle of a day on the brightest day, you tell it's illuminated. Oh, lovely, James Wester. Yeah, the bolts, putting the wiper bolt on the centre line works quite well as well. Passing 10,300 for flight level 360. I'll set standard now before I forget. Let's do the pre-cruise check. So fuel, we can turn on the centre tank pumps now. 700 kilos in the centre, and the centre low pressure pump lights have extinguished. Lights can come off. APU's off. Pressurisation, diffs 3.5 climbing. And set. Forgot to release the cabin crew. Release the passengers as well. Recall. Make sure we're monitoring 1215. Log on to CPDLC. And the pre-cruise checks complete. Bit cloudy now over Seattle, but can't unfortunately see the city. There's the view over the right wing. Maybe I'll update my save view. Yes, let's go for that one. So I've always had that one, look, so you can see it's in the engine, and then this one is my new look right. Yeah, the bump 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 is the best indicator. Sam, I know I only fly Pipers, but it's way easier to taxi, to be honest. Easier to fly in real life than the sim. Is that the same for the 7.3? Yeah, there's a degree of... How can I compare this? When you do your type rating on the 737, you move from the fixed base sims, which are not ideal for handling. They're procedural trainers. You then go to the full flight, and you're flabbergasted by how well they fly. When you do your circuit training, your base training, and you've done your preliminary circuit training, for me personally, I found it much easier to fly the real aircraft than the sim. I don't know if it's more seat of the pants, because you've got to be careful of seat of the pants as well, because effects on your body can actually give you false impressions of what the aircraft's doing. Stromatographic illusion, or whatever it's called. Yeah, I found it when I jumped in the plane easier. So yeah, there is a degree of that. Don't forget, I'm looking at a flat screen monitor, and judging seating position in a desktop simulator and you know, exact centerline is it's not impossible, really. I mean, over time I've began to sort of work out what's best for the sim, but in real life it's sometimes a bit easier to judge. But also in real life I have landings where you know, don't nail the centerline every time. Yeah, it's neat. That's a better way of putting it. You get more real feedback, absolutely. Ortho for the entire sector downloaded. You can see that the mountain ranges to the north of Seattle looking very nice, especially with the cloud. Low morning cloud base. Hi Lightspeed, hope you're doing well. Yeah, nice to be back streaming. Sorry about my little coughing fit about 20 minutes ago, as Jack did make me laugh. And again, I'll just twist back the yoke cam so you can see what he's doing right now. Look at this. He's completely out of the count. Jack! Yeah, bud. Lay down then. Lay down. Oh boy. Yeah, he's pooped. He was staying at some friends yesterday when I went to the air show, and I woke this morning and he was a bit stiff still. So I think he's just enjoying, just chilling out. Slumped, absolutely effusive. Yeah, no, Terry, you probably didn't like that. It was like, I am laying down. Don't disturb me. Cool. Awesome. I'll show you some pictures of this airport we're flying to right now. It's got an ILS on it, but tiny airport. It's only got 2 stands for sort of KSEA aircraft, Ketchikan. But the weather's really nice. I chose a good day to do this stream. And then tomorrow I'm planning to go live at 8 PM, a little bit later, to give some other people an opportunity to watch live, and do the next 2 sectors to conclude the Milk Run. And the route we're doing is a real world Alaska Milk Run, run by Alaska Airlines. So we're doing flight 67. It's one of the 3 northbound sectors from Seattle to Anchorage, and today we're going via Ketchikan, then Sitka. Then tomorrow in the PMDG we'll do from Sitka to Juneau, and then onwards to Anchorage. Domino Mosina, shame that the Polish F-16 Tiger demo team had to cancel their show at Riyadh. I was curious about your opinion on their show. I do know my military jets a little bit, Domino Mosina, but there was an F-16 yesterday. Was that not from the Polish Air Force? I'll tell you what, I thought I'd treat myself with my fiancée and her mum. We went there, we bought these enclosure tickets, they were brilliant. Our location was so good, it was right on the threshold of the takeoff run, and literally they were rotating right in front of us. Oh, the noise! I mean, we had like tinnitus afterwards. And honestly, your body. I don't know if you guys have ever stood next to one of these high-performance fighter jets taking off. And I mean, ones with afterburners, so your Eurofighters, your F-15s, F-16s, the Harrier as well. I know it doesn't have reheat or afterburner, but your body shakes. Your whole body shakes. Like, it was awesome. Absolutely awesome. Red Arrows are amazing as ever, but the Swiss air display team, they're really good. This, what are they, Swiss Patrice or something like that. They've got really old jets. I remember making an Airfix model kit of those Tigers. Hey Anthony, hope you're doing well, buddy. Was in Anchorage last year, quite beautiful. Didn't care for nearly 24 hours of sunlight, however. Absolutely, yeah. I think it lacks the light in the winter months, doesn't it? Yeah, it's an awesome sensation, Don and Messina. Oh, Stevie, I know. Like, body was like the whole ground shook. The whole ground shook. But no, I don't think they actually had any US Air Force jets doing displays, did they? Because the F-15 was from the Qatari Air Force. That was the new fly-by-wire F-15. The F-16 was from... oh, I can't remember which Air Force now. Can't remember. Yeah, great shame the Lancaster's still grounded, because I wanted to see that. They had a... I think it was the Finnish display team. They had some real small little planes, 200 horsepower engines. They were really cool. But the F-15 and the Eurofighter, how they do that slow flight, and literally the angle of attack is like 30 degrees. And then they just power out of it and just go into a vertical climb. And they were saying with the F-15, it's basically, you know, its power to weight ratio is greater than 1, so it can literally stand vertically and accelerate. It's just bonkers. List them in Royal Alpaca Air Force. Brilliant. Hi Rory, hope you're doing well, my friend. Talking about vibration, I would just have loved to go to a Starship launch for that experience. Oh, well, that would certainly shake the ground. Have you ever been to an air show, Rory, with the aircraft on, with afterburners on takeoff? Absolutely awesome. So, 16th Fighter Squadron, 8th Air Wing, Royal Alpaca Air Force. Brilliant. Just someone said I should fire up DCS. I tell you what, I did download and buy, and I've played a bit whilst I'm recovering from my my man flu, my chest infection. That's Manor Lords. That was really good. Really good. It's early access game. Oh, planes, I know. I saw the F-35 do its thing as well. It came from RAF Marham. They didn't actually have it on the ground here. But when that hovered and did its short takeoff and landing as well, that was pretty awesome. But there was the Harrier there from the Spanish Air Force. But there was a lot of static displays there as well. The Phantom, like the Turkish Air Force, still flying Phantoms around. It's crazy. Excuse me. Oh dear. Slow the Vulcan. Oh, I saw the Vulcan years ago in Air Force. Awesome. Yeah, that certainly would be a ground shaker. Master caution fuel. Low pressure centre pumps, that will be. Perfect. Centre pumps off. Excuse me, guys. So approaching top of climb, and you can see that massive long leg coming up after this one. 445 miles. Actually coincides with our top of descent point into Ketchikan. There we go. If you get these little brief periods of silence, I've just turned the mic off. NATO Day in Ostrava is quite good. Oh, cool. Yeah, on Saturday at Riyadh they did a NATO flypast, I think, with the AWACS, but they didn't do that on Sunday. Didn't do that yesterday. Miguel the Harriers had to stop at where's that in Spain? I don't know, that airport to refuel. Imagine waiting for takeoff and do the backtrack and then see them landing. That's really cool. I once flew into an undisclosed destination in Crete, and there they have the Hellenic Air Force with F-15s, and we were on final, and it was dusk coming up to night, and we were on a 5-mile final, and then they cleared these aircraft for takeoff, and we were like, what? There's someone on the runway, and they've haven't cleared us to land yet. Anyway, we saw these like 4 orange lights turn on the threshold. They went down the runway so fast, and then these orange lights just went straight up vertically. I was like, oh, fighter jets. And they just disappeared. They were already above us from when the orange lights turned on to where we were on around a 2-mile final by about 30 seconds. It's really cool. Might as well just have the Seattle VR active actually. There we go. Already 75 miles away. Surely not. Wow, we've shifted. Audrey, how is your health? Much better. I've had a real, well, I still have a bad chest infection. Their GP was like, yeah, we'll get you on antibiotics, which have helped, but it's just trying to get rid of it now. But I was very fortunate that I was written off work, so I was off work last week, and I'm actually on leave now, so I'm actually not due to go back to work until the end of next week, so I've got plenty of time to just be rid of it, let's say. Oh, do you go back over to Unicom, Zippy Zapple? Okay. Is that correct? Or do I stay on this CTAF thing? I'll go over to Unicom. There we go. Sam, I saw your post actually on Discord. You landed in front of the red arrows. Very, very cool. Shame not to bring it up again. Oh, CTAFs to the airport's only. Cool, understood.
Minimums, approaching.
Yeah, it is a F-15 isn't a plane, it's a rocket. That is true, Sam. Thanks, Having Store. Member now for a month of the channel. Hope you're doing very well, sir. Glad you enjoyed the content and enjoyed the custom emojis in chat. Thank you very much. Back angle to 10 degrees as we're above 30,000 feet.
Minimums, approaching minimums.
Might pop outside, I'll just turn the sound down. There we go. Flying Walnut, thank you very much. 17 months as a member, and I've just seen your comment as well above. Good afternoon, just home and popped into the stream. How's the flight going? Very well, thank you. Airborne now for around 15 minutes, flying northbound from Seattle to Ketchikan along the Alaskan coast. Fisher, what are the legs called? Milk runs? Where did the term come from and what does it mean? Well, the milk run started in, I think it's in the 30s. I remember reading in or online here, and I think milk was probably one of the main forms of what they travelled or what was transported between sort of Seattle and Anchorage. And the places we're visiting, both today and tomorrow's stream, they can't actually be accessed via road. You can only get there via aircraft. So it's just, I think it was what was used to be transported, but someone might be able to give you an exact definition of that answer and what the correct answer is. Again, you can see the cockpit lighting here. It's not, that looks great here, but it's just very, very dark. That's what, if it was like this permanently, that would be better. But yeah, we're replicating flight 67 of the Alaska Milk Run, which I think is a daily flight, I think. Cool. Hi Bass, hope you're doing well. Hi Flight Data Sim, any ideas why the alternate flat switch is only one-way spring-loaded in the real thing? Yes, there's a good answer to this. So it's spring-loaded down, so when you let go, it automatically moves to the off position. That's because if you have some sort of trailing edge flap asymmetry, you want to be able to quickly let go of it. Interestingly, thinking about that though, why is it also not spring-loaded for up? Because that it's magnetically latched. So when you go around and you want to retract the flaps using the alternate flap extension, it's magnetically locked to the up position, and you have to physically push it down to the off position. Why that's seen as as not needing to be spring loaded. I honestly don't know. I'd say it's good to be spring loaded in both directions, but again, Boeing would have had some logic behind that. I'm trying to think, having initially said I could try and explain it, but why it's not spring loaded in both directions, I don't honestly know. But yeah, when we extend the flaps using the alternate flap extension, we hold it in down up to flap 15 typically, which we do for a loss of system B landing or anything to do with the leading edge flaps. Any trailing edge flap asymmetry though, you don't move the flaps at all, even with the alternate flap extension, because there's no asymmetry protection. You just have to accept. But you've got an asymmetry, so a split in the needles, that's what you're going to land with.
Bells in a go.
Oh dear, streaming is not good for the voice. Makes me want to cough. Ian Sloan, I'll pass you. I'm doing the same run, just the return flights back to Tacoma. Was there yesterday morning. Feel sorry for the Delta passengers and all those waiting on the hundreds of bags line. Oh dear. Hi Alex Vanderpass, hope you're doing well. Nice to see you here. 0 point, what would you say is the most common thing to fail in the 738? Well, it's an incredibly reliable aircraft. I think the most I've probably had is window overheat. That seems to crop its head every couple of years, but how many hours have I flown this now? 6,000-7,000 hours. Never had anything significantly wrong. Very reliable. So my engines are meant to be at 100% M1. Yes, in the climb here, where obviously the air's a lot less dense. Higher thrust settings are far more common. During the takeoff roll, though, you wouldn't see an M1 that high unless it was very hot or with a high density altitude. Oh, Alex, yeah, I'm okay. I'm feeling 90%. 90%. Better than last stream, the members stream, that's for sure. David, unfortunately, this is something I've wanted to cover. Neither the ZIBO mod or PMDG have modelled flap asymmetry, trailing edge flap asymmetry, or leading edge flap asymmetry, unless it's been added. But PMDG definitely doesn't. Let's have a look here. No. Lost system B, you just lose the normal flap extension, so there's nothing there for it. Meds are helping, absolutely, Alex. Cool. Anyway, next thing's going to happen, really, at 320 miles away. But some very scenic routing, or some nice scenery to take in along this route. Look at that, right along the Vancouver coastline. And then Alaska starts here, back into the United States. You can see the scenery looks really nice down there. I'm actually on annual leave now, Alex, but if I flying with this, maybe not sim, I could probably get away with doing. Looks great. I was having issues with clouds on a previous update, but I was advised to clear the shader Socorella, which has fixed the issue. Oh. One thing we won't be doing though, because remember doing 2 sectors today, when we get to Ketchikan, I won't be doing a replay because it's very buggy again. I tried to do one twice, and both times the sim crashed. So I won't be doing a replay after landing in Ketchikan. Yep, annual leave, I know. I'm actually going on holiday on Thursday. In the UK, I'm going to Somerset. Just for a few nights. Weather's looking good next weekend as well. Shader cache, that was it, Steve. There we are, look. Good progress. There we are, just leveled off at 360-ish. There we go. Select max continuous thrust. 121 to 15, and in the cruise we are. Scrumpy country, yeah, absolutely. Someone said I should do a 777 failure every 10-minute stream. Uh-oh. It's been a while since I've done that one. Yeah, Flight Factor will be interesting as well, because that's got over 1,000 failures. It would be a nightmare. Absolute nightmare. So let me just quickly show you our destination. It's really cool. Perfect. So now, hopefully, if I do this, there we go. You should be able to see some images here. So I can't really, it's not that detail, but there you go. That's where we're landing. So we're going to be landing on runway 11 here. This is our destination, and I purchased the Northern Sky Studio scenery for this. The taxiway is actually on a massive downslope. It's actually much lower than the runway. So if I go here, I don't know if there's a picture which sort of really shows it. Oh, that's a tiny image, 350. There you go, look at this picture. So can you see how the runway here is much higher than the taxiway? So you actually got to go down a slope to the taxiway. And don't forget, this is flown by Alaska Airlines. That's a better pit. There you go. So there's the runway up there. Look how low the taxiway is. So you can see the Alaska Airlines 737 is, the profile is way below the runway. It's quite a shortish runway, about 2,000-ish, or 2,300 or 400 meters. So we use flat 40. So yeah, it's a really awesome destination. One that we've not visited before. Don't know if there's any other pictures that give. There you go. That gives it a really good impression of the slope. There you go. Well, how do I? Okay, you might have to. I might have to zoom in a little bit, but there you go. Look at that. You can see how much lower the terminal area is. But they've got two stands here for the 737, which we can use. Cool. V1 flew the TFDI MD-11 into Ketchikan not too long ago. You should check that out, considering it's now flyable. Yes, so this... tell me, guys, would you like me to purchase this TFDI MD-11? I have been sort of seeing about it. I haven't read much into it. I've got the Rotate MD-11 for X-Plane, which was a bit of a bomb when it released, but it's now quite an okay add-on. Yeah, how is the TFDI? Is it good? I don't know what how good an add-on it is. Hasso, do you guys take noise abatement procedures into consideration during a go-around? Is it programmable in the CDU when doing a dual-channel flare armed go-around? So go-around, no, not much consideration really is given to noise abatement. The design of the missed approach might take noise abatement into consideration and might have a turn to minimise disruption for people living below. But no, you use what go-around thrust you need. So on the go-around on the 737, if the order throttle's engaged, you've got two settings. You've got reduced go-around thrust, which is one push of toga, which commands a climb around 1,000 to 2,000 feet per minute and a lot less thrust. Push toga again, you get full go-around thrust, which is the green bugs, which is usually with two engines excessive. You don't usually need it. And reduced go-around thrust would be quieter, but we don't choose between the two based off any noise requirement really. Zam Films thinks it's good. Zippy Sapple, it's not there yet. Dennis would like me to have a review of it. That sounds pretty bad. Exterior modelling is almost like it's from FSX. Systems are pretty good. Okay. It wasn't worth it on release. They've just updated it. It's much better. Oh really? So it's only been out for how long? Not very long, has it? 0.737 question. How do you feel about the braking performance of the ZIBO as compared to the PMDG? Which is more realistic? I had an empty PMDG last night and it seemed to barely stop. Interesting. Now, you should be able to stop with max manual braking an empty 737 in very little distance. Certainly way less than 1,000 meters is achievable. The braking I find in Microsoft Flight Simulator, I can't remember what button I have assigned, but it's either on or full. There's no happy in between. But the order brake in the PMDG is good. I think for the settings is either you choose your settings. So I think I have used regular brake force. I think for the regular brakes, so it's not full braking, but it's enough to decelerate quick enough. But without having any, I don't use the toe brakes on my rudder pedals because there's no input on it at all. So I just use a trigger on my control column. Introvert. V1 flew it for us. You said something else, introverted goose. To be honest, it was not worth it on release. Oh yeah, you saw your comment about it being updated. It's now better. Konopki, V1 Sim was flying the TFD like a week straight. Well, he must like it then. It requires a tail-strike attitude to have a good landing. Well, I know it's tricky to land in real life. I've certainly struggled in the Rotate one, that's for sure. But the systems, you seem to say the systems are quite good. Well, 0 point, yeah, I see your point, but if you use order brake 1, you are going to use a huge amount of runway. So order brake 1, I mean, I'll just demonstrate it for you here. If I go to landing performance, so that sounds quite realistic then with PMDG. But if you use order brake 1, you're going to stop in about 2,500 meters. Try order brake max, then you might swap a bit quicker. But if I take here, look, runway 11, just with flat 30, landing at 63 tons. Look, if you go order brake 1, you're going to stop in nearly 3 kilometers. So order brake 1 is very little braking. Now, if you were to go max auto, that's 1,300 meters. Bear in mind, max manual is even more than that. So if you were to have a really light aircraft, sort of if I go here to landing performance, let's say empty, 45 tons, flap 40, dry. Look at that, max auto 919. You could stop with max manual probably in 600-700 meters with an empty aircraft, no problem. It's doable. It's achievable. Flying Walnut, do I use the flight path vector? I personally don't. So order brake 1, yeah, in the mod it should be the same. On the line, I have used order brake 1. I could count on one hand how many times I've used order brake 1. It's very, very, very rarely used. Because you have to use, using up 2,500 meters at least of the runway. AJ Ferno, oh good, you're using the Northern Sky Studios. Yes, I did try with Ortho 4XP, but because of that unique design of the taxiway and runway, it just did not come out right at all. So I saw that Northern Sky Studio made the scenery for X-Plane. I thought, you know what, let's just purchase it. So I bought it, then I contacted the dev saying, oh, I'd like to try it in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and he very kindly sent out the Sitka and the Juno scenery for tomorrow's stream, so I'm looking forward to showing that. I haven't yet installed that. Oh, Jack's off. See you later, mate. It's probably because my fiance's come home. Oh, cool, Flight Alpha. You did your first ever lesson in a little Cessna today. Lots of fun. Superb. Very, very good. Guys, how's the volume? Is my mic too quiet, too loud? I was playing back last stream and it was very quiet. Oh my, what's going on here? Ding dong. Why is it showing 600 feet per minute rate of climb, but my altitude has frozen? What has happened? Don't tell me the sim's frozen. Uh-oh. No, it's definitely not frozen. We're moving. But what's going on here? What's this? What? What has happened to the PFD? I'm at 36,600 feet according to FlyLive. What's gone on? Something is not right here. No. What's going on? Look at the altitude up here. What on earth's happened? It's completely froze, but the sim's running fine. What is going on? The aircraft has got an ASBO issue. Looks like a WASM crash from Microsoft Flight Simulator. What's happened? Oh, right, 36,000 level change. But look how much this has climbed. This is saying 37,000 feet. What's X-Plane saying? Look, 37,000 feet. What's going on? My altimeter's under reading. And now I've got VNAV guidance here. What on earth is going on? I've gone into descent mode. ZIBO. So is this a ZIBO issue or an X-plane issue? Now it's saying out hold. That should say VNAV path. I've broke it. Right, so I've climbed about 1,000 feet, even though the sim doesn't say I have. What on earth's happened? That's weird. Never knew ZIBO used CrowdStrike. Brilliant, Will. Okay, but what was this? Play back the stream 2 minutes. This, look at this. It's showing 37,000 feet now. It's still climbing. Oh, look, it's doing it again. But we're much higher than what the altitude's saying. That's weird. Recycling the flight directors. Weird. Try turning it off and on again. That's an explained bug. I have the same in the tow list. All good. Live weather, probably updating pressure change. Yeah, but I've not seen it do that sort of frozen on the altitude whilst climbing. But look here, 37. What does that say? 37,200 feet. Oh dear. Jack leaves, the sim goes to pieces. Get him back. Jack, come back. X-plane had something similar to the other plane. Okay. Well, let's see what happens, because we are still continuously climbing. So we're at around 37,000 feet now, but this is showing 36. And it's sort of stabilised up now. What does the QH say? There's nothing really to get the QH out for. There's no errors here. The AUX is good. Yeah, this is actually... It does look okay. But concerningly, look at this up here, 37,200, and X-plane is saying we're at 37,200 feet as well. Weird. Well, let's see what happens at top of descent. Hit B. Classic Microsoft Flight Sim. Arain, good question. I'm afraid I don't know if monocular vision can affect your Class 1 medical. Do I know any loopholes? If not, I really don't, I'm afraid, my friend. Just, that's one to ask an AME or something. Okay, so SimAware is showing me at the correct height. Okay. Could there be else on the sensor? Well, the altitude comes from a static source and also pitot measurement, so it shouldn't have any issue. Oh, I'm not changing anything in the iOS. That's going to only cause problems having store. Okay, X-plane shows the true altitude. Okay. Both. Yeah, alright. We'll see how it is, but I think we'll just see what happens when we descend. If I crash into a mountain, we can blame it on X-plane. Interestingly, the other traffic is showing only, you know, same level or above or below us, so that's good. Sorry, Rain, that's it. Good luck if it's the case that you have monocular vision, but I really don't know the workarounds of if it affects your medical or if there's any way of getting around it. Oh, cat. Is that a Biden reference? I don't know. Shocking news, US news, of course. But it was inevitable, wasn't it? Caught up on the F1 yesterday as well. I always miss the good races where interesting things happen. Always the same. Yeah, that's Steve. That's it. That's the only thing that was different. I've seen this X-plane bug before when the weather changes, but what happened was the PFD froze. So it was showing a continuous rate of climb, but with the altitude stagnant. That was weird. Who knows? Hopefully it'll sort it. Well, we'll soon find out when we descend, and if we... Oh, look, do you see the altitude just jump there? There you go, look, I think it's doing things now. But it's just, if it's anything, it's actually only making me go higher. What's this now saying? 37,400. Didn't happen on my test sectors. Heavy rat, last night on VATSIM, I was offered the chance to sidestep runways at Frankfurt to shorten the taxi time on ground. Does this happen in real life? Yes, it does. I'm unfamiliar with Frankfurt, but sidestep approaches do happen, and if you're interested, I have a tutorial on how to do it in the 737. Let me find the tutorial for you. There we are. Let me just share it in chat. Oh, my own voice. Lovely. There you go. That's my tutorial on sidestep approaches. You might find interesting. Gustavo, you'll experience the opposite as well. I've seen multiple times all types of planes as the current weather interpolation. Carry on, as you guys say on the tube. Brilliant. But yeah, this is the lighting. You know, nice bloom effects here, whatever it's called. But it's, you can't really. I mean, it is completely overcast, but it's a bit exaggerated. And here, you know, it's so dark. This area of the cockpit. Dennis, yeah, I did have a quick glance over. I think the first officer's IVSI and altimeter was matching the captain's. Oh yes, Shift S is sunglasses, isn't it? There you go. So now Shift S is basically great looking outside, but it makes it even darker inside. You can see the change. It makes it too. I mean, you can't even read this now. If I zoom in, yeah, but it's too dark. Piano Learner, did you see the recent VAS Aviation vid where a go-around aircraft due to a taking off aircraft still on the takeoff run stayed on the runway heading nearly hit the climbing out aircraft? Was that in India? Piano Learner, I think I have seen that. He landed in the aircraft. Oh no, did he go around? The other aircraft took off and... Or someone, I think one landed and it was still on the runway or something. I think I've seen it. I heard that 0 point, yeah. Explainer hopefully going to fix the issue. There's a plugin that fixes, I forgot what it's called. I've tried that plugin 0 point, but for me personally it didn't make much difference. All the gear and idea. I hope you're doing well, and you've been here before. Lighting makes the taxi cam in the A340 almost unusable unless you look right down. Yeah, that's a shame. Audrey says, will there be any streaming with a flight to the Russian airports, and in general, will there be flights in Russia? Now, it's I know, obviously, with what's going on, and I don't want to change chat into a debate about, obviously, what's going on in Ukraine and Russia at the moment, but there are still a lot of VATSIM events going on in Russia. I think I have actually stayed away from them just to avoid any sort of conversation in chat going in a certain direction, but if it's still active and there's a good event lined up that you guys would like me to try, I will consider it. Okay, see a bit of that lovely scenery. There we are. Just a bit of early morning mist and cloud. Excuse me. Steve, personally for me, the lighting issue for this long and through updates suggests they don't know how to fix it yet. Yeah, I mean, this has been really since the early days of X-Plane 12, this cockpit lighting issue. Leon, do you have a video showing how to plan, execute intersection takeoff in the 737? I don't. There really isn't much you can do in the aircraft. You need an accurate performance tool to work out your takeoff distance from an intersection. You can use the performance calculator with SimBrief, or is it TopCat, and obviously I've got the real world OPT, and you just simply select the intersection or how many meters you require for your takeoff run, and then you'll get an accurate thrust setting based off that to ensure that you have sufficient runway length to take off in the event of an engine failure at V1, and also to stop at V1. Yeah, good point actually, it is an exposure issue really. Piano Learner says it was in the US a few days ago at Syracuse. FAA investigating. It seems like something that's easy to happen for Go. Oh, right. I'm completely unaware of that incident. Apparently, lighting is deeply rooted in how they handle high dynamic range. Okay. Yeah, I think it's a big fix for them, isn't it? Because it would have been done by now. For me personally, I think it's the #1 issue in the sim, and I know that's been echoed by several other people as well. Michael says, for some reason I cannot land at Kilo Alpha Uniform Golf Runway 35. Could you look at a refresher for an RNAC? I guess you meant RNAV, because C is next to V. It's one of the legs in New Sky. Okay, not sure about that approach, Michael, off the top of my head, but something we could perhaps look into. Still very cloudy here. But the sim is very, very smooth. What am I here? 60 FPS capped. Very, very nice. Halfway over the sector. Start planning our descent into Ketchikan soon. Live time and live weather. Still showing a high altitude here, isn't it? 37,500 feet. Yeah, absolutely, Steve. Yeah, I was actually looking back at some of my other streams in X-Plane over a year ago. I think I did. Oh yeah, there you go. Look, see the height changing. There you go. Look, it's sorting itself out now. So yeah, I think the way the mod's sort of handling this isn't very realistic. So if you look here, you can see we're descending again now. This is obviously with the pressure change, but look at this. The IVSI is showing a rate of descent of 850 feet per minute. The standby altimeter is frozen, and Jim's PFD is exactly the same. Look. So that's obviously, this shouldn't happen at all. There you go. So it's now it's sort of like it's descending, but this is updating live. Somehow it's keeping all the other aircraft exactly the same height, even though we're continuously descending here. Weird. But I see it. Why don't X-Plane just go back to what they had in X-Plane 11 with the lighting? Like, just undo it. It was never an issue in 11, was it? Or was it? I can't remember. I don't know. Apart from that, still love the sim. You can see we're definitely descending a lot. Look at our thrust. There we are. It's now sort of caught up to where it is, and we're back down at sort of the correct height now, 36,000. Where's that, Anthony? Strong tailwinds, yeah, lovely tailwind. Look at that. 500 knots ground speed. It's good going. Gustavo, because how the lighting change, it's not one-to-one change. Yeah, I think it's a massive. I mean, I don't know. But I guess it's a big thing for them to fix, not something they can do overnight. It's my neck of the woods, Anthony. I don't know. Where is that? It's also in the UK. Biggin Hill. This is my neck of the woods. Not been there for a very long time. A bit of a diversion from here, though. Andre, do you think the Boeing campaign will ever create a new model to replace the 737, or will there be a further upgrade to the MAX? Well, they'll get the MAX 10 out when that gets its final certification, which I know hasn't been done yet, has it? And I think this will be the last of the 737s. I think Boeing will make something new to replace it. It'll be sort of A321neo-ish size, won't it? Or XLR. But there'll be MAXs built by Boeing for years to come. I mean, how many aircraft have they got on order? And to sort of, you know, I'm not a spokesman for Boeing or anything like this, but how many MAXs are currently, say, flying around the world right now? There must be hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds. Piano, if you go around because someone's taking off, then you stay on the runway heading, then surely chances that the aircraft will end up climbing into you is high. Some different procedures, so there's not actually any procedure for this situation, so it's air traffic control's responsibility to ensure there's sufficient separation, and sometimes if they leave it tight, you know, and you're approaching 500 feet above the ground and the aircraft's taking off, the pilot of the approaching aircraft can go around at any point. In fact, you know, it's encouraged if you're destabilised at any point to go around, and that does reduce separation. Now, as commander of the aircraft, you've got to judge, you know, ensuring the aircraft is safe. You might need to take sort of evasive action to prevent an RA or a collision. So there isn't actually any specific procedure, but it has happened previously in the past where an aircraft has been given a late landing clearance or no landing clearance, and then the approaching aircraft decides to go around. The aircraft's still rolling down the runway and taking off, and then laterally, you know, you're separated by about 2 or 3 miles. So tower might take it into their own hands and say, look, aircraft taking off, make an immediate right turn. Aircraft will go around and take a left turn. Depends on the airspace, the terrain, etc., etc. Ah, interesting, Gustavo. I see the point about the change. Cool. Top descent's about 120 miles away. I'm Australian, I think. Yeah, so obviously there's the Australian Milk Run and then you have the Alaskan Milk Run. I guess the two are very similar with what they originally did. But this one started, according to the internet, in the 1930s, the Alaska Milk Run, it is. Oh, actually, look, Zippy Zappos, there's a few airlines have them. There are like multiple milk runs around the world. Oh, look, it's doing another pressure change thing, so you can see the ZIBO's commanding a climb of 800 feet per minute, but the altimeter is frozen. But this is a new thing as well. I've never seen this before personally. In Canada, you have the maple syrup run. Very cool. Hi Simon, hope you're doing well. You're currently on JetBlue Flight 44 over northern Canada at the moment. Oh, very good. You're not a million miles away from where we are virtually then. God, it's just constantly changing. Oh dear. But the aircraft can tell it's climbing because look, it's gone to max. Again, this shouldn't happen. It's commanding a max cruise thrust of 97.7, but it's actually commanded a thrust setting above this. N1 shouldn't be above that. But you can see it, tell it's climbing, look, because the speed's stagnating with that high thrust setting. Oh, there we go, massive jump. Now the M1's going to reduce. Funny. Come on. Right then, let's start setting up for this descent into Ketchikan. Oops. So, we're taking 250 knots below 10,000 feet. Let's fetch the forecast winds from ACARS. Ricardo, if the PMDD was acting up like this, you wouldn't hear the end of it though. Oh, absolutely. But this isn't a ZIBO issue. This is an X-Plane 12 issue. But when the ZIBO mod messes around, I'll sure tell you about that as well, as I always have done. Right, let's grab the weather in Ketchikan. So no ATC online, and winds from the north, 3 knots. We'll still use runway 11 though, which is the preferred landing runway with the precision approach. They've got harbour wind. I think there's a little seaport there to land on as well. That's all good. So the pressure setting is 3011. Stats in. Execute. Landing on runway 11 then. /10. Yeah, we'll plan to configure around 4 miles. Currently at 36,000 feet. So around 108 miles from touchdown will be our descent points. Top percent slightly beyond that because we need to do a 180 to land on the reciprocal runway. Let's now have a look at the star. Well, there isn't really one. So Ketchikan, star, no stars. So let's have a look at the ILS approach. And it's this one we're interested in, ILS Zulu. If you look at our routing and the flight plan, it's going to take us from Papa Romeo to Apgal, Thunberg, Wazer, and eventually it's going to take us to Anne. Anne is off the chart, but you can see here it's not to scale. There's the Anne VOR at 17.1. And once we get to the VOR, we're going to fly outbound, track 301, 26 miles. Got 305, 26 miles, so slightly off. But that's going to take us to Muse, max 210 knots, which is coded in the FMC. Something like that. Let's go to Muse. We're going to intercept. I'll make a 180 degree turn to Purity. This is a 9.2 mile arc apparently. But Purity. DME is probably not 0 at the threshold here. And then we're going to get to Wettol. Wettol 2,400, which is the final approach fix and platform altitude. And then we intercept the ILS, which is at 3 degrees. So let's get this tuned. ILS frequency 1093. Active on box 1, active on box 2. The VOR for Anne will tune because it's also the missed approach point as well. So or the Annette Island VOR 17.1 is the frequency. 17.1. Nicholas, we're not utilising. Was it part of the missed approach? We actually have Calm Cove, NDB. So missed approach, Calm Cove, NDB, bearing 124 to Ikaru, and Ikaru inbound to the Anne VOR. So we'll tune in Calm Cove, NDB 396. I wonder if it is a Calm Cove. Make that active and select ADF. And the courses are 115, which is set on the MCP. Minimums. US, United States of America. I always forget this. So this is feet, correct? It's at 2,400 feet, which would make sense because 550 meters for an ILS is around 1,800 feet. So 2,400 feet is going to be about 700-800 meters, or half a statute mile. I think that's what that says. Where's my meters? It's 21 mega inches, 2,400 feet RVR. So that, yeah, I always remember around 1,800 feet to 550 meters. So that should be fine today because it's well in excess of that. Full lights, minimum's 292, which is 200 feet above the ground. Cool. Minimums are set. Excuse me, guys. So, that's that done. So we're going to fly the procedural approach. MSA, there is a lot of high terrain around. So we're all around the airfield. The MSA is 5,800. But we'll fly the procedural via Puerty to get us onto the localizer. Intercept the ILS. Send to the minimums. Missed approach. I'll push toga. Cool, go around flat 15, set go around for us. Positive radar clock, gear up 400 feet LNAV. And we'll make a slight right turn off the Calm Cove B bearing 124. Also DME 6.6 off that bearing. Further right turn to Annette Island, sorry, to hold. Which is all coded. Akura and Annette hold. Climb to 5,000. Cool. Let's have a look at landing performance then. So very short run. Well, not very short. Landing distance available was 2,000 meters, and we want to vacate at Alpha. So only around 1,700 meters. This is definitely a flat 40. A flat 40 landing we want to do. Let's have a look at the performance in the performance calculator. 4.4 tons. Our alternate's the Yakutat airport, so 3.8. So we've got a nice 600 kilos extra, and we're going to burn 700 kilos before touchdown. Only weight is going to be 62.9. It's reasonably heavy. So let's just get the weather in. So 360 at 3. Slight downwind. A knot. Temperature is 14 degrees. What's 3011 in inches? 1019er. Cool. Flat 40, well, air conditioning auto, anti-ice off, all brakes available. VRF edition will be +5. There you are. Flat 40 auto brake 3 is 1684. That's going to be unfactored, and that should be good for Alpha. So, flap 40 auto brake 3. Second intent reversal brake cooling. And this scenery is really, really nice from Northern Sky Studio, which I purchased in the X-Plane store yesterday. And that was only... Generally I stick with stock airports in X-Plane, but because of the unique topography of this airport and the taxiway that's way below the runway, and it just doesn't work with ortho, I was like, I'll just get the scenery. It looks really good. Ricardo, how many more years do you think until the NGs are retired and we only have the Max? Probably... certainly in the next 5 to 10 years, you'll see the majority of large NG fleets will either be replaced by the Max or the Airbus. I don't know. I'd say in the next 10 years there'll be way more Max. Well, I'd say within 5 years, I think the Max will overtake the NG. Maybe not as soon as that. I don't know. And NGs will still fly cargo. A lot of them will be converted into Boeing converted freighters. But as a passenger plane, probably in the next, I'd say 6 to 8 years, the Max will overtake it. Hi Sam, curious, if you're reading 1,000 feet low on the altimeter, presumably that means you'll be low on the glide slope when you arrive at it, unless it resets itself before then. Well, the glide slope is completely irrelevant on your altitude, so if you've got the wrong QNH set or wrong pressure setting, as long as you're on the glide slope, it doesn't matter what pressure setting you have, you're going to be on the correct height. You're just going to have the wrong altitude indicated on your altimeter. But if you set the wrong QNH, let's say you set a higher QNH than what's actually at your aerodrome, if you set a higher QNH, your altimeter will be overreading, so you'll be lower, so you could get into a situation where you never get anywhere close to the glide slope. But yeah, the higher if you set a higher QNH than the actual QNH, that's far more dangerous because you'll be lower. Aaron, what's the place we're going to? Ketchikan. No, it's... Right, where's Google? I need to learn how to pronounce it. How to pronounce Ketchikan. Presuming that Google knows how to pronounce it. Apparently it's this.
Ketchikan.
Oh, Ketchikan. Is that correct? Ketchikan. Do it slower for me, Google.
Ketchikan.
Ketchikan. Is that correct? Ketchikan. I think that could be along the right lines. Well, thanks Google, that's a great help.
Ketchikan.
Ah. Ah, yes. Catch Me If You Can. Great film. Great film. Did he say sell chicken? No. Ketchikan Jackie Chan. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Right, approaching top of descent, ladies and gentlemen. No ATC. 10 miles. Let's select. Oh, no! X-plane, come on! Descending at 1,000 feet per minute! Right, and I'm also flying in heaven. There's no arrival here, so we need to set a safe, sensible altitude. So let's set the MSA rounded up to 1,000 feet, so 6,000 feet initially.
1,000 to go.
And now, because of the bug, because I've opened... reduced the lower altitude, it's now showing vertical speed 1,000 feet per minute, but we're not descending. It's just they need to fix that ASAP. So 6,000 feet set. I'll set the QNH later. So look at this. So we are guys, we are descending. There we go. It's now caught up on path. But this should be going retard arm if we're on path. Let's just see what happens when we actually, because of these issues with the pressure changes, the ZIBO mod is in. It's going retard arm, but we're below path now. It should be going back to FMC speed now. Oh, what's it doing? That's no good. X-plane need to fix these pressure changes. Right, it's sort of sorted itself out now. Down we go. Does this happen in Microsoft Flight Sim? Yeah, Microsoft Flight Sim does sort of pressure changes as well. They're usually like sort of every 15 minutes, as it always has done in Sims. You can get slight jumps, but this sort of change that we get here, this is like, far worse. Right, so path is accelerating at 7.8, and then we'll convert to 273 knots shortly. Ooh, jazzy. Leon, would you ever consider doing an airline options video, like showing what airlines use, what equipment set up in the PMDG? Well, I only know what we have, so I could look at certain options and maybe show you how I have mine set up. That's a stonker of a tailwind we've got. Brilliant. You know what, like, that did cross my mind at a road, doing it in the IXEG 737. I think that's probably a bit closer because Alaska Airlines use a 700, I think, for this, not an NG. Still got 10 kilos in the centre tank, so hopefully the scavenge pump will pick that up when we get less than half fuel in tank 1. They use a 700 for this. Oh, cool. Memory, flat 40 coming up. Not often we get to see that. Is there anything you'd want to see improve in the mod in terms of flap area behaviours? Twixen nailed it. It's good. On takeoff, I noticed on the test sector, if you're making large pitch inputs, the elevator isn't as authoritative as it is in the real aircraft, certainly level D. So I found if you make a full pitch nose down or nose up movement, or the nose down certainly, if you go fully nose down, the nose really is slow to come down, which it shouldn't be. But flap 30-40 is pretty decent. Pitch power is very good, and the aircraft behaviour. Simon, oh yes, you're on a real aircraft right now, watching this with real world turbulence gives us a whole new level of immersion. Very cool. Leon, even if it was just one airline to get an idea of the setup you should be using, like all the equipment and displays in the PMGG setup option. I'll think about that. I've been saying for ages I'll do a video showing my setup for the Thrustmaster yoke, what buttons I have configured, because I have that sort of configured as close to the NG as possible, whilst also utilising the other buttons to incorporate things in the sim. So for example, I use this little button here to recycle the flight directives. The A and the B are linked to the flight directives off and on. This right trigger here is for the brakes, and the left trigger for VATSIM, because it's the same as the push to talk button on the captain's yoke. This I don't have configured to anything. There's like a little hat view. This one, yeah, I think I've set, but I very rarely use it. But I'll go through over that at some point. Excuse me. So we're in path. Tailwind is probably causing our speed to go a little bit fast. We've got the drag required message, which is realistic. Let's keep an eye on that speed. As you accelerate, there's more parasitic drag, which should sort of let it reach equilibrium. But if it keeps getting closer to sort of 310, 320, we can introduce a bit of speed brake to help bring the speed back to our target speed. Nice. What about the middle flap settings? Pitching moment, pretty good memory. So flat 1, flat 5. Flat 5 in the real aircraft, you get quite a large balloon moment, which causes the aircraft to pitch up. That's quite well modelled in the mod. Flat 15, it's quite negligible. Flat 25 is just flat 25, 34 is just more drag with little pitch change. Oh yes, an island. Cool. Cool. There's a bit of Alaska down there. So what we'll do after touchdown, get on stand. I won't do a replay after the first landing, just in case it crashes the sim. Have a quick break, and then it's a much shorter sector to Sitka, where we're going to do an LDA approach. The localizer, it's not offset, but it's not lined up with the runway, so it sort of spits you out slightly to the right of centerline, and we'll fly that approach today. But only around 35-40 minute sector. Then the sector tomorrow, the first sector of the PMDG 737 is going to be about 25 minutes. Approaching the NVOR, I've already picked up the NDB. The DB doesn't quite read 0 here as well at the threshold. Nambuza, what was your highlight of Riyadh this year? Couldn't get the time off for it this year. Oh, sorry that. I think that the F-35 and Harrier, just when they go into hover, the F-15 was awesome. Just the way that moves, and it was flying along, and he just yanks the stick back, and it sort of just goes into a stall, and then he's flying around at around 110 knots. He said it looks like it's about to fall out of the sky. Incredible skill. The F-16 did that as well, and obviously the F-16, I think it's a lot more hand-eye coordination, isn't it? F-16 doesn't have fly-by-wire, does it? I don't know, but yeah, these pilots, these jets are just incredible. Right, we'll set the local QNH now, 3011. So it's sort of reached equilibrium now with parasitic drag. So I'm holding around 300 knots. When we get to our decel point, we'll introduce a bit of speed brake to bring it back to our target speed. Sam, with the facts. The largest tsunami ever was in Alaska, the 1964 Litua Bay mega tsunami. A landslide fell into the bay and created a wave with a run of up to 1,700 feet. It destroyed 2 boats and 2 survived. Random fact, there you go. Oh, the F-16 is fly-by-wire, but the F-15 is not. Oh, but that new F-15 I saw. Oh, F-16 is the first with fly-by-wire. That's amazing. But the F-15, what was that called? The Advanced, wasn't it? Or F-A something or other, the Qatari one, isn't that meant to be all fly-by-wire now? The F-16 was pretty cool. Seatbelts on. Ooh, nice. But look at the cockpit lighting. This just the contrast is crazy. It's so dark. This looks great. How old's the F-16 now, though, as well? So was that like the first ever aircraft with fly-by-wire? Because it's an old jet, isn't it? But still in active service. Hi, Leon. I hope you've got it so there's no VNAV pathing next to the altitude tape. But the aircraft is still descending without trying to bring the speed back. So in PATH, remember PATH, it does not give any care for speed. It only follows this. So your speed can stagnate, and the path is based on you pitching down at this point and maintaining 273 knots. But because of the tailwind, I think it's just let the speed run a little bit higher. You can see it's slowly beginning to drop back. It's your responsibility to manage the speed to ensure it's at the speed tape. But the aircraft's pretty good, in fact, when it follows the path to holding the speed quite nicely. With all these little altitude changes, with the pressure changes, that probably didn't help things either. Oh, is a dark cockpit such an issue in Microsoft Flight Simulator, Aaron? I think it was. Aaron, is this Microsoft Flight Sim? This is X-Plane 12, sir. Ah, so T-Bag, you flew on the Sitka connection, do you know, in the late 90s. Every time we stopped, some more people would get on with crates of ice salmon. Brilliant. So we'll do those 2 sectors tomorrow. We're just going to do Ketchikan, then to Sitka today. And then tomorrow we'll go from Sitka to Juneau, then Anchorage. Ah, of course, Aaron, yes, the mod. Yeah, it seems to affect all planes differently. Phoenix, PMDG aren't as badly affected. Yeah, I agree with that one. Right, so approaching the decel point. That's that first green circle to decel from 273 to 250. Now I'm going to introduce some speed brakes. We're obviously a little bit faster than our target speed, and then we'll just stow the speed brake once we're on the magenta target speed. You can see now it's bugging back, and obviously we'd ideally be at that speed already, but using speed brake will nicely place us back on that speed, and then we can stow it again. Very nice scenery. Clouds are a bit smudgy, but the scenery, at least looking through the gap, is lovely. And the aircraft is leveled off because it won't let you go below 10,000 until you're doing 250. That's as per the real thing. Post-cruise checks coming on now. So fuel, 4 pumps, lights, logoed off. Angular bank is now set to 25 degrees. Oops, just stowed a speed brake now. It's gone back to FMC speed because it should only do that 15 knots below target speed. That's thrown me. Angular bank 25, pressurization 3.0 set, seatbelts on. Recall, checks complete. Good, so we're now approaching Mishu, having passed the VOR, so I'm happy to descend down to 5,000 feet, which is set, and we'll procedurally arrive. So, bring the chart up quickly for you here so it's easier to reference. What's the code? Papa Alpha Kilo Tango. Cool. So after that, 5,000, Muse max 210. So we have another green decel point. That's to go from 250 to 210 knots at Muse. So VNAV's doing a good job so far. Downwind we want to be around 6,000-7,000 feet, so that's looking good. Height looks good. The airport's down there somewhere in the valley. We get these weird look appearance on the window. 10 degrees, technically just about in icing conditions, so just put a squidge of engine anti-ice on. You'll get the message, anti-ice on 10 degrees. There you go, tire above 10. As long as it's 10, no higher, we're still technically in icing conditions. Ricardo, what's the indication reversers are active? They're here. These will change to reverse amber, so in transit, or not stowed, and then green is when they're in the extended position. There we are, out the cloud, engine anti-ice can come off. One thing in the max, engine anti-ice really affects your descent path, adds a lot more thrust than the NG does. 0 point question. Being English, do us Americans sound like we have an accent like you all do to us? Yes. You sound like American. You can tell someone's from America. As you can tell, I'm from England. America. Very good. Path's looking nice. Approaching the decel. Can you see the airport? Not quite. Lovely morning here. Live time, live weather, of course. You're welcome, Ricardo. Listerman. It's not orange, it's amber. Let's go, it's checked. Approaching the decel. So there we are. Started to slow down now to 210 knots. The aircraft will start pitching up. Turn angle increment. You're joking. Thermal anti-ice. Listerman. Unbelievable error. I thought, what a matter of your knowledge. Oh no, not again! Oh, I'm getting these stupid X-plane clouds. Look at these clouds. I call them Minecraft clouds. Oh, I cleared all this. What is going on? It's like an invisible cliff. Right, approaching 1 mile from Hughes, we can step down to 3,000 feet for the arc. 3,000 feet says. Icebergs, yeah, it looks like that. Oh, crikey. We're going to hit the iceberg. Full right, Captain. Oh, dear, oh, dear. I thought I cleared those. But maybe it's just happening around this particular airport. Because I did a test sector earlier and it didn't have them. But I did have them and someone said clear the shaded cache, which did fix it. But it's a bit peculiar. If I just jump out the aircraft, look, you can see. It's very... in we go to set cloud. And we'll take flap 1. Open the speed windows, we turn base. Speed checked. Stay in path, we're in approach logic. Set runway QDM 115. Perfect. Flap 1, flap 5, speed checked. Oh, I better do some unicomming. Oh no, should I be CTAFing now? Oh, I don't know. Oh, there's no ATC. So, aircraft slowing down really nicely. The mod's behaving very well. This is good. Flying the arc very accurately. You can also see here on Navigaph. Look at that, it's absolutely nailed it. And 3,000 feet, we can then step down to our final approach fix, 2,400. But this is going perfectly. What's the weather? Overcast 7,000. Okay, well the weather... The meta is not matching the weather in the sim. Right, correct sensing. Just below the glide. This is excellent. Arm approach. I'm just going to use vertical speed now.
Bells on the go.
To just sort of stay on the localizer. Sorry, stay on the glide slope. Yes, the weather is... Well, probably over there where we don't have Minecraft clouds. It's a little bit better. Otherwise looking good. Yeah, VNAV there was nice. Yeah, I think it's just the Minecraft cloud that's gone a bit dodgy. But I've only had it at this airport. So localizer going to come alive any second. There are localizer alive, localizer capture. Runway heading 115 sets. Glide set captures next. Can happen any second. Glide set capture. And the missed approach altitude 5,000 feet is set. Ketchikan traffic. Alpaca 1 Mike Romeo is final for ILS Zulu runway 11 at 10 miles. Ketchikan. That's very nice. If we ignore the clouds behind us, just look ahead. That is stunning. And with flap 5, idle thrust will hold the speed very nicely. There you go, there's idle, and look how it holds the speed. This is very accurate. See the speed slowly coming back, so the auto throttle adds some thrust. There we go, very good. This is where the mod really comes alive. Sort of the picture we have right now is very, very, very realistic. Aaron, how old does the aircraft need to be to have the Honeywell MCP? Doesn't matter. We've got new NGs with the Honeywell MCP. They just swap them around as needed.
2,500.
Perfect. So we'll configure around 4 miles, maybe a bit before with flat 40. Flat 40 is a bit trickier. Aircraft's a little bit more sensitive in roll. Generally speaking, when you try to land with flat 40, it's a bit firmer. It's a bit harder to judge the flare. Much more drag than flat 30. There's the runway, and there's that taxiway look, which is way below the height of the runway. And this, yeah, as I said, this is the Northern Sky Studio scenery. So the DME definitely doesn't co-locate with the range here. I think at the threshold it reads 1.4 miles. So we're at around 5 miles now. So I'm going to actually start configuring. Gear down, flat 15, match speed, start switches, recall, speed brake. Let's do the landing checklist.
Landing checklist. Start switches.
Continuous.
Flap 25, nice intermediate flap setting with flat
Speed
40.
brake.
Below 162, you can select
Landing
flat
gear.
40.
Down 3 greens.
Flat
Auto
40.
brake.
Auto brake 3 set.
Flaps.
Flaps 40 set. Green light.
Landing lights.
On.
Landing checklist complete.
So that should only say 40 when we have 40 indicated, which we do now. The lights are on, clear to land, checklist is complete. There we are. We won't do a replay of this one because it is very unstable in the sim at the moment. But they are the wing views on the approach.
1,000 feet, stabilized, Mr. Birch out.
Will we butter? Who knows? I haven't had much luck recently. I do have the excuse of having a chest infection. Let's see how we get on today. Right, I disconnected the autopilot. This aircraft's pitched up straight away. That's a bit unusual. It used to pitch down, now it's pitching up. About 62% reference weights of 62 tons. It's perfect conditions. Oh yes, another thing as well. The glide slope and PAPIs do not align, so I see 3 red. So I'm going to ignore the glide slope, and I'm recycling the flight directors because there's no decent guidance. So I'm only looking at PAPIs. I've noticed this, I don't know if it's a thing with the scenery or X-plane, but they do not align. 2 whites, 2 reds on the PAPIs, ignore the glide slope.
400.
3 whites, smidge high, just set the attitude on the horizon.
300.
Keep descending.
Minimum.
Continue, back on the PAPIs, 2 reds, 2 whites. Smidge high on speed.
100.
Bit low.
40. 30.
Check.
20.
Close.
Yeah.
Hold the attitude. Come on. Oh, speed brakes up. A butter with flat 40. Gently lower those reverses. 100 knots. Oh god, this is the one I can't do a replay on.
80 knots.
80. Cancel reverse. Manual braking. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ketchikan. What a beautiful butter. Superb. Just let it roll now to alpha. We'll take next left. What a beautiful scenic place. Flaps coming up. Ketchikan traffic, Alpaca 1 Mike Romeo is vacated, runway 11 taxiing stand. Perfect. So, that was an excellent buttery landing. New Sky said -19. We're going to go off the New Sky one. Yep, much better. Right, look at this taxi slope here. This is not an issue with the sim. This is how the taxiway is in real life, and they've depicted this as best as they can within the confines of the simulator. Look how far down slope this is. Oh god, he was on the close final. So we're going to go down slope now. We'll take stand 1. So I guess there must be some specific guidance for the Alaska Airways pilots, because you could get the brakes really hot here as you go downhill. And especially if they're hot after a short landing runway, you're riding on the brakes downhill, you're going to get a lot of heat in them. So we'll do the clean up. Trim's at 4 units. See, I've not touched the trim, and it's on approach set 4 units. It would be much higher than that. Probably 7, 8 units. 6, no less. So I'm not sure why it's on the approach. It was such a lower trim. Like, look at us go down here. I've got no. We're just look at this. Look at this attitude. 2.5 degrees nose down. I'm always doing 30 knots, so braking now. There's a Tucano on stand. And look at the runway below us, but that's why I'd purchase the scenery, because the default doesn't look great, nor does it with ortho. So this is a special ortho tile with this scenery, and it looks really, really good. Get the AP up and running. Otherwise, the scenery looks superb. Very, very nice. Tiny little terminal. 2 stands for the 738. And then we've got to go uphill when we leave. Oops, let's turn all these lights off. Shutdown engine number 2. Been shut down more 3 minutes. Oops, overshot that turn slightly. Unfortunately, no guidance here. Ketchikan International Airport. It's very, very dramatic scenery. It's fantastic. Oops, I feel like I'm running out of energy. Thrust on remaining engine. What's with the footprints there? That's random. No guidance, I'm cheating. That'll do. Right. Parking brakes set, AP's available. Put that on the bus. 2 blues, 1 red, engine's dead. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ketchikan, Alaska. Terminate flights. I should better do this first, and I'll put the GPU on the bus. Look, save some fuel. AP can go back off because I'm not going to do the replay. Open that. Voice recorder on. Anti-collision light off. Close the flight in New Sky. And that should trigger for deboarding. Yes, look, the air bridge is automatically detached and everyone's coming off. Oh, look, we have a WOW Airbus A320 coming in as well. Superb. Yeah, it's slight mismatch with the PAPIs and glide slope. I noticed that on the test sector, but you can see, look at the slope, look how much lower we are than the runway, just as per real life. Right, so let's close New Sky first, see what we scored. If it's not a 10, of course it's a 10, of course it's a 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, look at this, look, actual real world landing rate was 19 feet per minute, amazing, made a good bit of wonga for Alpaca Airways, $12,700. Very nice indeed. Right, so as I said, I usually would do a replay in the mod with even 2 sectors, but it's so buggy in the sim, I'm not going to do one here. So what I'm going to do is leave it on stand. The passengers are offloading now. I'll get things set up for the next sector, which is going to be half the length, much shorter, as we shoot over to Sitka and do the LDA approach as well. Due to be off for around 30 minutes, but I'll just take a quick 5-10 minute break. When I get back, we'll be ready for the second sector. I'll see you then, guys. Cheers. Thanks a lot for that intermission, guys. I was just having a look here. The scenery is what an amazing place this is in Ketchikan. Ketchikan. Amazing. What an awesome approach we just flew as well. Really, really scenic. But once again, thanks to Northern Sky Studio. Well, actually, I purchased this scenery, so thanks to me. But we'll be previewing more of his scenery tomorrow in Microsoft Flight Simulator, which I'm looking forward to. But yeah, let's do the second sector now to Sitka. Just refiled the flight plan on VATSIM, otherwise I've not moved where we were. This flight's very short, about 35-40 minutes, going up to 24,000 feet, and we've got a really cool approach today as well into Sitka. It's an LDA approach. We'll just have a look at the weather together, just to see if we need any additional fuel, because I looked at it earlier and it was a little bit misty and murky, but the LDA approach can get us quite close to the ground. Oh, look at that. I've just noticed there's a little mirror here, but I'm not sure what the reflection is. It looks like, as it was 200 years ago, it's a mirror into the past, perhaps. There we are. What did I miss in chat? Not much here as well. Coordinate page, what was our alternative? It was Yakutak, I think, or something like that. Perfect. What else am I missing? Rigged giveaway. What was that all about there? Listen, I'm out the loop here. Yeah, we're back on VATSIM. Let's now. Oh, I just want to show you something on NewSky very quickly. I must be our best pilot. Look at this. We have last 3 flights. All flights in July. 10, 10, 10. Next sector. Can I get 4 10s in a row? Just wanted to point that out. You know, just wanted to point that out. Anyway, I've started the flights. There we go. And let's now get in the the second flight plan. What? Well, I was just boasting. My approach was weak, however. No, don't make me cough. Don't make me cough. Weak? What made my approach weak? What an absolute ridiculous analysis. Oh, no. 250 knots below 6,000. High rate of descent below 500. Oh, come on. Come on. Those two are not my fault. That is a glitch, which we explained on Final Approach how the PAPIs weren't even aligned with the glide slope. Oh dear. Must be a broken a firebug. Absolutely. Unbelievable. Let's get rid of that. So if anyone's just tuned in, we've just experienced a bug in the aircraft. Move along. We'll terminate that flight. We'll go back here to fuel weight and balance. Services. Load. Let's got my new one in here. Yes, 8.5 on the fuel, I think it was. No, that's not it. That's the old one. Load OFP. That's better. 5.6. 5482. Perfect. Let's just have a quick look at the weather at our destination. So here, weather. Oh, it's fine. Calm winds, view at 1500, and it's only going to get better. TAF is variable winds, overcast 8000. No, standard flight plan fuel will do us nicely. So flight plan fuel 5482. Alternate again, Yakutat. So 3.2 is the reserves. 5.6 on the fuel's fine. So 5.6. Enter. Activate. Good. Now the air bridge is disconnecting whilst opening the door. Hyper realistic. And it sounds like the refueling started. Oops, the weather radar's been on the whole time as well. The 10 in NewSky must have been binary. No comment. A weak 10. Unbelievable. Can we stop saying weak in chat? As the new word of the day. Right, the cleaners are on board here because obviously the passengers made such a mess on that hour and a half sector. They're having to do a full clean. Let's now get started. So
flight deck fuel is all loaded up and you are good to go.
Good. So seatbelt side back on, cargo and God knows what's being boarded, catering as well. Oh, that salmon someone mentioned about. Right, weather we've got. QNH hasn't changed. We'll set the MFRA to 1,040 feet. Loudest cleaners in history. That's all done. We'll now go to menu, FMC, pause. We've already done the position. Let's request the new flight plan. Weak. Oh dear. Load. New call sign Alpaca 2 Mike Romeo for the second sector on the Milk Run. And departure. We've got the KET K6, we'll see what that's called in a second. And we're also expecting the LD approach via the Bravo Kilo Alpha VOR will activate, execute. There's the SID in the FMC. Performance, we're still loading passengers. So we'll come to that in a second because that updates based off the actual gross weight. But if we go... Oh, no! I don't want to show that page anymore. If I come up here, we can get the actual zero fuel weight, 58.5, which it will load in. Cost it. Oh no, wrong page, that's fine. Reserves were 3.2 tons. Cruising at 24,000 feet for the second sector. Elevation at Sitka is 27 feet, so we'll put 50 here. Cost index I've got to put in 30. Executes. Top of climb wind is 155.49. Top of climb ISA is 3. Executes. Right, we'll definitely need a performance calculator for here because it's a much shorter runway to Seattle. Steve, only cleaners who wear bricks on their feet and use hammers to remove any grime. Unbelievable. They are pretty loud back there. Oh, so loud, in fact. Right, let me just get the performance calculator up for the second sector. So, I just need to refresh SimBrief here to make sure I've got the second flight loaded. We do. So, takeoff, full length, runway 11. That's fine for the weight. Optimum flap, optimum thrust, wind, populating weather's in. So, calculate. So this, oh wow, it's actually quite reduced thrust. So that's saying field length limited. This is going to use every inch of the runway. Do we trust SimBrief's performance calculator enough? That's the thing. We'll go with it. Let's see what happens. But this is going to use every single inch of this runway. Field length limited. So 20 flat 5, 26k with an assumed temperature of 49. Fair enough. Takeoff flat 5, CG. Oh, that's going to be constantly changing, look, because the aircraft's loading. That's quite funny. Speeds are in as well. V2 144 knots, so we are a lot lighter than we were before. Well, it makes sense, we are lighter. 185 passengers we still have on this sector. Look at CG changing. 5.75 units is the final CG. Rich, understood top climb ISA. So the performance of the FMC is based off standard ISA atmosphere. If it differs, you can tell the FMC and it will adjust performance criteria, things like cruise speed, to ensure that you're flying your cost index speed as efficiently as possible. Good, V2 will set now 144 knots. Sorry, I've still got the performance calculator up. And that's set. Up here's all good. AP will start now. Perfect. I'll turn the jazz music off for a second. That's all set. Flight director's on. Let's have a little look at this SID then. So it's a Ketchikan 6 SID. So it's actually taking us in the wrong direction for quite a long way because we actually need to head northwest. But this says initial climb on heading 116 to 2,000 feet. 116 to 2,000. Heading's 115, that's fine. Right turn to 5,000 feet. Heading 190 to intercept the Net Island VOR 147 inbound. So what we'll do, we'll put 147 active here as a reminder as the first inbound QDM, and then the VOR 117.1 is, we might as well make it active because that's what the SID's based off. Perfect, and the taxi, pretty self-explanatory. We're going to push back. Yeah, see how the SID takes us all the way here in a sharp right turn. I might give ourselves an early right turn when we're above the MSA. Yeah, look, it's just going to be a taxi, push back, Bravo, and then runway 11 straight out. That's the routing covered. Right, let's get the pushback tug. We're doing great for time. Something like this.
Ground to cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready. Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
And we'll just, ooh, how do I refresh this? I can't remember. I genuinely can't remember how to refresh it. I thought it refreshed after landing automatically. Oh dear. There we go. Just do the below the line checks.
Before start checklist below the line. Air conditioning packs.
Not again.
No, sorry, wrong checklist. I was coughing. We want the transit.
Before start checklist to the line. Gear pins.
Removed.
Oxygen.
Tested 100%.
Yaw damper.
On.
Okay, all
Fuel.
doors and hatches are closed.
So require
Ready to
5482.
connect.
We've got 6 on board.
Checked.
Fuel pumps.
4 pumps on.
Perfect.
Fasten belts.
On.
Window heat.
On.
Air conditioning.
What's quick loading?
PAKT auto. Bleeds on.
Pressurization.
So we've got 240 and land out set.
Set.
Pressurization mode selector.
Auto.
Look, I put the view on the bus, guys.
Cross checked.
Auto brake.
Ah, this.
Do we still use auto ortho? I never used auto ortho, John. I've always just downloaded manually. There you go. That's why we have checks.
RTO.
Parking brake.
Not again.
Huh?
Set.
I just
Stab
set it.
trim
Don't know what
cutout
happened
switches.
Normal.
Radios, radar and transponder.
Tow connected and bypass
Ah.
been inserted. Release
And
parking brake.
standby.
Rudder
getting there.
and aileron trim.
3 and 0.
Takeoff briefing.
Discussed.
PA.
there. Complete.
Complete.
FMC CDU.
Set.
N1 and IAS bugs.
So we've got
N1
auto
and IIS
and
auto.
speed
V-speed
sets.
set.
Stab trim.
Set.
Performance, weight and balance.
Checked.
EFB.
Airplane mode and stowed.
Phones.
Off.
Flight deck windows and cockpit door.
Closed.
Doors.
Closed.
Passengers.
Seated.
Before start check.
I stopped that early. Before start check is below
Before
the line.
start checklist below the line. Air conditioning packs.
Off.
Anti-collision light.
On.
Parking brake.
Set.
Transponder.
Out
Alt
of.
off.
Before start checklist complete.
Very good.
Starting pushback. And you may start engines.
And Ketchikan traffic, Alpaca 2 Mike Romeo pushing back from stand 1. I think it's stand 1, has to be. Right, there we go. That was a quick pushback and that was a very quick turnaround. Alpaca Airways also has a low-cost subsidiary here in Alaska. Jim, that's a good question. We were discussing that earlier. Is the Milk Run originates from early routes where I guess milk was travelled, but there's lots of milk runs all over the world, we were sort of saying. Is the mirror showing the plane? No, unfortunately not. Right, starting engine number 2. Also worth mentioning, our departure. If we have any problems departing off to the east here, there's a lot of high terrain around, and I was looking at the oops, wrong airport. Oh no, it's the right one. A lot of high terrain here to the east, so we'll climb straight ahead to the MSA visually, but make sure we stay away from the high terrain. But we'll climb to the MSA, which is 6,000. Cool. So, come on, start a cutout. Engine number 2, 2463. 2 stable, starting engine number 1. And 2. All pressure and 1. God, look at this hill we've got to get up. Very dramatic scene.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Okay, sets.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Perfect. Cycle out, monitoring engine number 1. M1 20% EGT 400. That's been fixed then with the PAKT EGT. N260 and fuel flow 300, number 1 stable. Let's do the before taxi flow. Flaps to 5. Disconnect tow bar. Flight controls again. Forward. Back. Left. Right. Here comes the rudders. Right and left. Very good. Recall. Blank the lower DU. And we'll start reading the before taxi checklist.
Before taxi checklist.
Alpaca milk on board, absolutely. Rosie, hope you're doing well, madam.
Hose disconnected and bypass bin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. Well, see you next time and have a safe flight.
Off.
Air conditioning.
Ciao.
PAKT auto, bleeds on.
Isolation valve.
Auto.
Flaps.
Flips 5 required and selected, green light.
Stab trim.
Set.
Start levers.
Idle detent.
Flight controls.
Checked.
Recall.
Checked.
Before taxi checklist complete.
Perfect, so we'll just have a little look on the airport. No one approached, no one on final, or no one flying around, so we'll get lined up. On runway 11 straight away, so clear left and clear right, said Jim. Release the parking brake, do a config check. I'll set about, usually we'd set about 30, no more than 35, but because we've got to go uphill, just set about 38, 40 initially. So we've got to get up here. Texture changes a little bit there, unfortunately. But much better than the default one. Oh, a big of a freeze there. It made me think the sim was about to crash. Just turn the APU off, didn't I? Yeah, takes a minute. Oh yeah, I've got loads of performance as we climb up this hill. Can you see the altitude increasing there? 47 feet, 48 feet, look. Oh, Aaron Flood, that's 5 gifted members. Very kind of you. Welcome aboard to all the new members joining. Thank you very much, Aaron. Very, very kind of you, sir. We've got Rosie, we've got Jim, my faithful first officer, AG Fernite, and Rich joining as members, and also Michael Tizzards as well. Very generous of you. To all of the new members who have just been gifted a very generous membership from our good friend here, Aaron, head over to Google, type in YouTube Discord synchronization, follow the steps there, servicing's every hour, and you'll be able to join and enjoy the customers and chat. Thank you very much. Cheers, listener, thank you. Cool, we'd best do the before takeoff checklist.
Before takeoff checklist.
Don't want to fall off that cliff, do you?
Config.
Checked.
Flaps.
Flips 5 set, green light.
Stab trim.
Set.
Takeoff briefing.
So, PAKT auto, bleeds on, V-speed set for departure, 36, 38, 44 on the MCP. It's a Ketchikan 6 departure, runway heading 116 to 2,000 feet. We'll make a right turn heading 190 to intercept the 327 radial inbound to Annette Island. And we'll climb, we didn't discuss this actually, to 5,000 feet, which is the initial stop altitude on the departure, which I forgot to mention on the briefing. There it is, 5,000 feet. Any DP2, any problems as discussed, we'll climb straight ahead to the MSA 6000. That's
reviewed.
Cabin.
Secured.
Before takeoff checklist completed to the line.
There we are, we just checked the traffic, there is no one here, so we'll line up on the runway. Ketchikan traffic, Alpaca 2 Mike Romeo taking off runway 11. So, alright, LNAV. Perfect, and with the radar on, before takeoff checklist below the line, please.
Before takeoff checklist below the line, MCP.
Set.
Transponder.
TARA.
Strobe lights.
On.
Landing lights.
On.
Before takeoff checklist complete.
Perfect. So you can see the routing, look, the Ketchikan 6 takes us nowhere near our actual required sort of routing. I was not concentrating on the line up there. So as soon as we get to the MSA, you will self-position, make a right turn 180 degrees inbound to the next waypoint, but we'll stick with the STID initially. Right then, let's go to Sitka. Toga's in chat. 40%. Start the timer. There we are, stabilised. Just realised it's very quiet, isn't it? Let's just turn it up slightly. That's better. Set takeoff thrust. 92.3, we're field length limited, so we're going to use all this runway here. Takeoff thrust sets, indications and all. So, sim briefs, calculators accurate. Checks, release forward pressure. looks good.
V1. Rotate.
Perfect. Field length limited. Bob on.
Positive rate.
Gears up. Trim.
.400.
On Earth. Bye bye, Ketchikan. Ketchikan. Beautiful. Oh, we're climbing well now. Plug up. Waiting for 2,000 feet, and it's going to command that right turn. That's better with the flight director bar. There's the right turn. So above V2 plus 15 accelerating, trimming nose down, flat one. Very nice. There's the loss of lift. Very good. Okay, it should be commanding around 1,000 feet per minute here, a little bit too high, the flight director bar. And speed check flaps up. That's why we're slightly below the pitch. So once it's on that heading, it's just going to keep heading on this heading until it intercepts that radial. The 147 inbound. All in trim, look at that, that's very, very nice. Command A. One to go, so we'll just go straight up to 240, no ATC. And there we are. We're inbound now on the 327 radial to Annette Island, 147 inbound, and then we'll make the right turn en route. Flaps up, no lights after takeoff checklist. Gears off, sort of brakes off. Start switches off, air conditioning and pressurization. Reach the crew, 2.0. Set. And VNAV. There's the MSA. So once we're above the MSA, you can see we're on inbound or intercepting that radial. But now we're above the MSA, I'm happy to self-position to the next waypoint, which is the arrival actually, Bravo Kilo Alpha, and that just saves a bit of time. So ATC will give you that direct in reality, but we can self-position once we're above the MSA anyway. So there we are, after takeoff checklist complete, right turn to Bravo Kilo Alpha. Beautiful scenery. Cool. You need ortho for X-Plane for sure. Glad we've got rid of the Minecraft clouds temporarily. And then we'll fly this LDA approach. We've done one of those before. Just above the cloud here. And it's 8 degrees, but yeah, we're not in icing. Yeah, won't take us long to get there. ETA 17:19, so about 35 minutes till touchdown. And for do you use active sky? No, just stock X-Plane weather. It's fine for me. There we are. See how our cruise speed or climb speed is very low. Anyone like to tell me why our climb speed is so low today? 263 knots. Anyway, passing 10,500 for flight level 240. Let's do the pre-cruise checks again. 4 pumps, we've got no fuel in the centre for the second sector. Lights off, APU's off, pressurisation 4.0. And that's all set. Release the passengers, recall. Jets complete. Passive sky. Yes, the lighting is still very bright here. Just makes the cockpit very, very dark, unfortunately. It's like we are ascending into heaven. Actually, where is my... where's my sound? There it is. Oh dear. Yes. Let's cut that out. On our way. Nothing to do with the cost index, actually. I always use the same cost index, Rufy-chun. 30, okay, which is Alpaca Airways cost index. But your climb speed varies off something, and there's a clue in front of you as to why the climb speed's a little bit lower. Cost index was the same last sector, 30, but I think we had a higher climb speed, and you might have seen in my other streams, even though I use the same cost index, that climb speed varies. Because there's something that has a much larger impact on your climb speed, and it's an external parameter which I inserted in the FMC, and it's gone and taken that data and gone, right, I'm going to adjust your climb speed accordingly. So it's giving me a very low indicated airspeed. All the gear and no idea has got it. That is correct. It is the tailwind. So if you have a stronger tailwind in the climb and it gets that information from your top of climb wind information, it will give you a lower indicated airspeed. That way you get there quicker. You get there quicker because you climb at a higher rate. That way you're utilising the climb speed. If your indicated airspeed is very high and it's fast in the climb, so doing 300 knots plus, that means you have a very strong headwind in the cruise. So it's actually going, look, I don't want to get to the cruise that quickly, so I'm going to climb faster, which at a higher speed, which so it actually means you climb slower. So it sort of works backwards, but it's all the wind is the top of climb wind is the largest variable that changes your speed in the climb. In descent, though, it's your descent speed in the 737NG is only based off your cost index, no other information. Right, there's the transition altitude, 18,000 feet in the US, all set standard now. Nothing to do with your ground speed per se, Michael, it's just based off your headwind and tailwind component. But it will give you, obviously, if you fly a slower indicated airspeed, your ground speed would be slower, but obviously your tailwind there is keeping you going fast. There you go, Rufy-chun, every day's a learning day. We're approaching our cruise level. Clouds look much better now. I think it's just around that airport I've been having that issue. I've not seen it anywhere else, only when I've been flying around in Kitchen. There's 20,000 feet, so have a quick check of the pressurisation. Oh, looking good. Yes, I did say kitchen, well spotted, Listerman. I might dab hand in the kitchen. I'm okay, Rosie. Give me a recipe. I'll be okay. Good, pressure 2 to go. Let's have a quick look outside. Loud. I can't see anything because it's overcast, unfortunately. Deal Joe, I see it every time, for example, when I'm flying cost index 20. And on another flight with 6, the one with 6 is very chill, slow in descent. Yes, cost index 6 is very chill and slow in descent. It's 245 knots. I don't know how I know that. So, yes, your cost index in descent. Your descent speed is purely based off your cost index. Right, approaching 1 to go, because we're in excess of 1,000 feet per minute. We'll select VS 1000. Michael, so if the tailwind doesn't come into play for some distance, what would it do? Say you're on your runway heading for some time, therefore a headwind. What happens then if your top of climb wind is only once you have turned? That's a fantastic question. I think what it does, it generates your point, it knows exactly what height you are during the climb, and I think it will base that based off your expected point at which you accelerate and where you are on your track, it'll accelerate you. But that's a really, really good question regarding your present inbound track. But I think it just takes your your track expected to be the average track on the climb. Maybe, I really don't know. That's way beyond any manual. Certainly FCOM. That's definitely not in Bill Buffer's guide either. Alice, what impact does the cost index have overall? So it's a balance between fuel costs and engine maintenance, because obviously if you have a high cost index, you're going to burn more. Let me get this right. If you have a higher cost index, you're going to fly faster. Okay, you're going to burn more fuel, but you're going to have less life on the engine. Or I'm trying to get this right now. I'm going to have to really think about this. Higher cost index, higher fuel burn, but you're going to have less time on the engine. Lower cost index, lower fuel burn, but you're going to have more time on the engine, more running time. So there's a balance between the two. But generally, in the 21st century, fuel is far more expensive than maintenance and running costs of an engine. So generally, my operator, we fly quite low cost indexes. However, if there's a curfew or some other usual sort of commercial factor which could sort of incur penalties, so airports and curfews, you don't want to have to divert, so they will generate a higher cost index if you get delayed, for example, to meet curfews. But we don't have any input on that. We get a flight plan, it shows a cost index, we insert that into the computer, and off we go. Right, there we are, 24,000 feet. Start setting up for the approach. 76 miles to go. So again, 250 below 10,000. Execute. Grab the winds from SimBrief. So request the winds. This is a good point. I like cost index 30 because it's a nice balance. Anything north of 50, it's quite high speed. Anything less than that is a bit slow. There we are, winds are in, executes. Excuse me. Fix rings in. So on the legs page, you can usually line select key the runway, but because this is an LDA approach, there's no runway point coded, so you have to type it manually. But it knows because you have the airport selected as a departure arrival, and if it looks at your arrivals and goes, oh, there's a runway 11, it'll accept it and put your fix ring there for you. 10-mile ring. It is VMC down there, 4-mile ring. We're at 24,000 feet, so top descent's going to be at 72 miles roughly. See, it's slightly beyond that though, because we've got to do a 180 degree turn. That's fine. Let's have a look. So, just like in Ketchikan, there's no star flying inbound to Sitka. So if I select the charts here, look, star none, LDA approach. So we've got an RNAV approach available, but there's not really any smooth arrival to get us there without entering a hold, but there is an LDA approach. Now LDA approaches are very unique. There's a number in the world. Honolulu's one is probably one of the most famous ones. What it usually means is the airport wasn't able to put in a localizer or an ILS based off external factors, most likely terrain. A localizer, an LDA approach off a localizer isn't quite as accurate as a localizer off an ILS approach, but it will laterally position the aircraft to a situation where you can be visual and then land manually. Now this LDA approach, it isn't offset per se, it still matches the runway QDM, but it is not lined up with the runway. It looks lined up, but can you actually see how it's actually slightly off? See where my mouse cursor is? Slightly pointing to the right of centerline. So it's put you slightly right there. So you need to get to your minimums, or when your visual disconnects, and then position the aircraft manually, sort of like a sidestep in a way. But this is quite a well-known LDA approach if you look on LDA approaches there. So testing it, I wasn't sure, and then I came out the cloud and I was like, oh, the runway's slightly to the left, so that's what it's done there. But look at the minimums, quite low, 520 feet, about 500 feet above the ground. Excuse me. And then the other approach onto the other runway, the only way of getting there is to a circle to the south of the airfield. But with no wind, we'll go straight in off the LDA. Now the great thing is we're doing the transition via Bravo Kilo Alpha. So if I select Bravo Kilo Alpha, you can see we're going to go outbound on the track of 303. We've actually got 305 here to Koyeg, which is the initial approach fix. We need to be at above 5,500 feet for that leg, which we are. We're then going to get to Jetut, and then a 20-mile arc to Isili, and there's 4.8 miles. What's going on? Why is it saying 4.8? Not sure. Oh, Syntac, that's very generous of you. Thank you very much for your $20 donation. I'll let that read out, and then we'll come back to our briefing. Thank you, sir.
I'm one of your fans that been bothering you for years for recreating the Milk
You are.
Run. Thanks for doing it.
You're welcome.
Also respect to the Alaska Airline drivers who navigate these routes year-round even when weather is not great.
Very much so. Thank you very much, Syntac. Was that you in Discord that's been sort of... Someone else was pegging me to do this route for a while, so... Yeah, sat down and planned it out over 2 sectors. Nice to base it off a real-world sector as well, flight 67. Thank you very much for your generous donation. And yeah, I tell you what, LDA approaches and with all this terrain around as well, in the winter months, no fun. I'm very... lucky to be secluded in Europe with weather events which don't usually have massive impact to the operation, so big respect to the guys doing this day in day out. Thank you very much, Syntac, very generous of you, and for being a member for such a considerable amount of time as well. Thank you, sir. So, as I said, 20-mile arc. Why this says 4.8, I'm not 100% sure, but looking at the picture, looks right. It looks at the right position. It's from a silly, it's in a 5.2 mile arc, but it should all be 20 miles based off Bjorka. Not sure why these distances are varied, but you can see it's sort of putting us into the right position at Hexab, which is on the extended centre line. Now we can step down from 3,600 to 2,400, then to 1,800. So remember, this is only a localiser, no glide slope available, so we're going to have to utilise a pitch mode like VNAV to descend accurately on the profile, until we get to Sudvi, which is our final approach fix, and then we intercept a 3.19 degree glide path, which is coded in the FMC. Then cross Eruyi at 1260, and Zavlo, which coincides with the minimums roughly at 580 feet. So we'll set the minimums now, 520. At my operator we had 40 feet to this. 560, just to ensure that we never bust the MDA, just in case we're not visual. So we'll set 560 for the minimums. 560 feet set. Courses for this approach then 116 and 116. Frequencies 1089 for the localizer. Oops. 1089 and the VOR 13.8 for Bjorka. Who has to maintain that on this little tiny remote island? Crazy. This would be great to fly in the a classic aircraft as well. 13.8 is on standby. So frequencies, courses, minimums are set. The high terrain is all to the north. Look, 6,500. So if anything happens, we'll ensure we keep to the southwest, where the terrain is a lot lower over the Atlantic, the Pacific. Good. Minimums then. So 1 3/8 of a statute mile, whatever that is in meters. So we've got sufficient visibility today, so it's 10k or in excess of 10 statute miles. That's all set, perfect. Now how's that for a dramatic airport? Look at this. The runway is on this spit of land with sea either side. Okay, really cool. Landing distance available then, runway 11 beyond the threshold is 2,134 metres. So we're going to be over the threshold, very right over the sea at sort of 40-50 feet here. Width is good, 46 metres, but we are going to have to 180 backtrack to vacate at Bravo, taxi on to stand. Let's have a look at the landing performance. I think, well, I don't think, it will be flat 40 again, guys. Very short runway. So runway 11, let's just double check the weather again. So variable at 3, we'll put -3 to be conservative, or 290 at 3, which acts as a tailwind. Temperature is... where is the temperature? Oh, so I'm looking at the TAF, that's why. 14 degrees. Oh, well the wind's calm. Well, let's just put 3 knot tailwind to be conservative. QNH 1019 is still landing weights. 3.7. I'll turn it to 3.2 again for Yakutat. 500 kilos to burn. Landing weight's going to be 62.2. Flat 40 order break 3. You want to stop as soon as possible. We'll go with that. Look, That's going to give us distance of 1667 metres, which is unfactored in the ZIBO mod. Flap 40, water brake 3, and second detent reverse. Land, 180 backtrack, vacate Bravo, 1 to stand. Superb. That's everything covered. Oh, just saw on chat here. Leon, how do you get the aircraft to go into VNAV path on descent? You just simply select a lower altitude. Gustavo, 380 for statute miles. Always use 200 meters as 18 for statute mile. Oh, conversions. Oh dear. Verify course. Thanks, Steve. If I set the wrong course. 116. Oh yes, got a degree. Thanks. There we go. Cool. So yeah, MI operator, if we're flying a non-precision approach like this, we do an additional briefing to explain to pilot monitoring how you're going to fly it. So we'd say, you know, do we need to make any cold temperature corrections? We independently set your minimums at QNH, or inches of mercury in this case. How we're going to fly it. So we'll select flat 1 on the arc, flat 5 intercepting the final approach course, gear down flat 15 around 4 to 5 miles, flat 40 for landing. I'm going to use what modes? We're going to use localizer for the LDA, which will slightly offset us, but that's fine, we know about it, we briefed it. VNAV for the descent path. If we're visual, I'll disconnect the automatics, and we will need to recycle the flight directors because there's no runway point coded, so the flight directors will try and level off at the MDA, which is no good. And if we're not visual, we'll fly the missed approach, which I actually didn't brief. So, the missed approach is initially a 600 feet. It's climb straight ahead 600. Once we're there, it's a right turn, climb to 5,500, inbound to Bjorka, and then to enter the hold there. And climb it to 5,500. Did I actually set the Bjorka VOR on standby 13.8? I did. Perfect. Cool. And there's top of descent. So answering the question earlier from Leon, we'll select lower altitude now. We'll set 5,500, which is our first restriction on the track. And in VNAV, which I can engage now, which I never did, it will automatically descend. You'll see after top of descent, FMC speed will change to retard arm, and this will stay in path, and you'll get your descent profile guidance appear here. There you go. I think just because it's low on speed, it stayed in FMC speed. That will convert to retard and arm when we're back on target speed. Davo, do you press the approach button for LDA approaches? Some LDA approaches do have glide slopes. There is no glide slope here, so unless you have integrated approach navigation installed in your 737, you wouldn't utilise approach. And I have it. I don't use that option here in the mod. Top of descent, ladies and gentlemen. Down we go. It's been a lovely sort of two-sector stream. I'm hanging in there. Feel fine. It's just the little cough which I occasionally have. So I do once again apologise, but I'm certainly on the back end of this chest infection now, which is great news. Cool. Down we go. Ooh, scenery! It's so dark inside, and that with the bright light and the exposure, you don't actually get to enjoy the scenery outside from the cockpit unless you do that. Look at that. Probably no snow there this time of the year, though. Awesome. So quiet. Ah, where's the plane gone? Chaz. Oh, bit of a weird pitch oscillation going on here. So Gustavo's going there, but somehow the entire mess with units of measurement is the fault of the British. Brilliant. Pop seatbelt sign on now. 25 minutes airborne, guys. Super short sector. But the first sector we're doing tomorrow from Sitka to Juneau is super short. I think it's like 20 minutes. And then Juneau to Anchorage will be like our first section today, a little bit longer, probably an hour and a bit. Steve, last time I had a chest infection, I found myself drinking gallons of water and going to loo every 5 minutes too. That's what I'm doing. I don't know if that's because I am more thirsty, but the doctor said, yeah, just drink as many fluids as you can. I've bought some quite strong. Wow, no, it's gross. It's from the pharmacy, but it breaks down all the gunk in my lung, the mucus. I don't know, I didn't want to say the word, but yeah, no, beaten by the bush here. I just want to get it all out now. Good. We'll set the local pressure setting 3010. Oh well, it's now set. It's probably slightly above path, but that's because I didn't put it in the FMC. Hey J-Dog. Ciao, Captain. Glad you're feeling better. Probably a good time to be off work with all the craziness of air travel just now. Made it back yesterday after spending 24 hours in Athens Airport. Oh, how horrible. No, I mean, yeah, there was carnage on Friday, obviously, wasn't there, with the worldwide crash from CrowdStrike. That was very interesting. I was very glad to be off work, but I would have been off anyway. So my working week started last week on Sunday, and I was in the sim and I felt okay. I flew on Monday and I was really quite rough after duty. So I called in sick, went to GP, and he said, you can't fly at the moment, and wrote me off work for 7 days, which took me to my annual leave, actually. So I'm actually off now. I go back to work a week on Thursday. I've got a lovely amount of time off. So yeah, that's why I'm doing this today. Stream tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock, British Summer, and then Wednesday, Thursday, I'm then going on holiday for 4 days, so I won't be streaming again until next week. But I've got a few things planned for you. Well, a few things I'd like to do. A lot of people are talking about this TFDI MD-11, which I might have a little look at. Yeah, exactly, Steve, exactly. I have no sore throat, I have no pain in my sinuses, I don't feel rotten, no temperatures, no fevers, it's just clearing the backlog. I think this is the blooming is a little bit too excessive. It's so bright. But yeah, the scenery though is very, very nice here. Oh, cool! They got floats for the Classic Air Simulations J3 Cup, which that was actually, believe it or not, my last public stream I did 3 weeks ago. Just been under the weather. But I've been streaming here for 3 hours, talking most of it. Voice is fine. Whereas I did the group flight. Not this weekend, the weekend before, and I was exhausted by the end of that. Good, so there we are. We've started the arrival over Bjorka VOR, so we can't see it today, unfortunately, because it's overcast here. But now outbound on the 303 to Koyeg. Minimum descent altitude is still 5,500 until we get to Jetut. Now we should really have the VOR active to back up the DME distance with the navigation, but we'll just leave it on the ILS. Certainly if you're in a classic aircraft you'd have to have the VR active here. Yeah, I've heard, we chatted about it earlier, Steve. Apparently there's been some updates since it was released which improved it. Dear, where is the option in the ZIBO to disable the override mode? So that my throttle doesn't change the thrust. So I have that on actually, because obviously in the real aircraft, just to show you guys here. See if I move this, look, it doesn't change. Oh, it does change the thrust. That's because I am in ARM though, to be fair, because I quite like that. But when it's in a green mode and engaged speed mode, or the throttle, thrust levers don't influence anything here. But it's in the settings. Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head there. Diurge 0, I'm afraid. But in ARM, it's really useful to be able to add thrust as required. Good, so approaching the first decel point, drag required. Again, we're going to have to help it out, look, because it's not at 250 knots. And the next decel, actually, I just noticed this when I was briefing it. So I want to bring the speed back to 220 knots or below at GTUT. That's going to change my path there, so it's not a problem. So, this should, guys, this is a little bug now. This should have changed the VNAV speed with the new logic, and it's not, it's in path. So I'm going to have to go level change here. So in the new logic, and it was working in the ZIBO mod, I don't know what's happened. This should have gone to VNAV speed with the U14 FMC update, and VNAV speed, it should have pitched for the speed instead of it started diving for the path, which is the old logic in the FMC. So we'll just have to go 250 knots with speed brake and just wait until we get back onto path manually. Oh my god, what is that? It's Mount Doom! Oh, look at that. I found it on the chart. Very cool. The humidity must be high, look. There's condensing over the wing. There we are. So, level change. Approaching Koyag, still 5,500. We cannot step down to 3,600 feet until we get to Isili. Path's coming in nicely though, and I better bring it back to 220 now. Keep the speed brake out. I wanted 220 at Jetut. Right. Oh, path's just jumped completely. What's happened there? What? You see that? What's going on, ZIBO? You have broken there. 400 feet below now, back on path. Interesting. Let's go back to VNAV now. Yeah, that's okay. It's going to slowly wind that speed back to 220. He says 236, but I want 220 at GTOP. Why is it commanding 236 knots? This is a bug. 220, speed window's closed. It should be commanding 220. It's commanding 236 knots. And now it's gone from perfectly on path to 1,000 feet high, even though it's still 5,500. What is going on? It's working so well on the first approach. Right, level J. Oh, now 400 feet. I think the mod on second sectors sometimes has its moments because it's the path is constantly jumping. I mean, looking at this, 7,000 feet. How many miles? 2046. We're about 900 feet high, so this is actually probably correct. So let's get the speed brake back out and maintain 220 knots. We need to get back in path for this LDA approach anyway. I'll log off. That's just no ATC. So approaching Isili, checked. We can now step down to 3,600 feet. Again, I'm sort of ignoring the path. I just want to be at Haxeb at around 4,000. Path is showing a little more like what we want to see. You've had that as well on the second sector, Michael Tizard. Yeah, that was jumping all over the place, wasn't it? You don't want to be using VNAV if it's doing stuff like that. But that's looking better now. Now we're back on path. We'll wait until we're right on it and I'll re-engage VNAV again. Approaching. We're on base leg now. So I'm going to go VNAV, open the speed window. It's in path, select flap 1 and reduce to the flap 1 speed. In fact, I'm going to go flap 5 straight away. Oh, this is. I don't like this. Sort of. I mean, alright. If we're just in the top of cloud, fair enough. So we've got localized deviation. Speed's coming back. Still got the speed brake out, and we'll just come out the cloud. Okay. To be fair, coming in at, if you went into clap fin layer, that is what it would look like. Okay, cleared approach. Arming Vorlock. Wantico's checked. Still 3,600. But we can now step down to 2,400. 1 mile to go. 2,400. So next, we won't step down until we... Oh no, we have 1,800 feet and then we'll be approaching the descent point. So speed's now nicely managed. The path seems to be good. Localizer alive, localizer capture. Runway heading 116 set. And we're going to use VNAV for the descent for the LDA. Speed brake slowly can be stowed now. Cool. Quickly get the charge. Should have done this earlier. What's the airport code? PASI. Ah.
1,000 to go.
Checked. Good. Okay, so we're inbound to Fitod. Fitod. We could step down to 2,400. So that's what we've got set. Can't quite see the airport yet. 1 mile before we can then step down to 1,800 feet, which is the final approach fix.
1,000 to go.
$2,500.
Landing checklist. Start switches.
Continuous.
Recall.
Checked.
Speed brake.
Armed green light.
Landing gear.
Down 3 greens.
Auto brake.
Auto brake 3 set.
Flaps.
Flaps 40 set. Green light.
Landing lights.
On.
Landing checklist complete.
$1,000.
1,000 feet, stabilized, Mr. Birch, altitude set.
Plus 100. Minimum 500. $400. $300. 200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Knots.
Oh, sorry guys. Oh, I don't know what happened. I don't know why I was mute. Oh dear. I don't know what happened. I think I must have coughed and then forgot to unmute the mic. I hate this muting mic thing. Well, how... Oh god, none of you have heard me for the entire approach. Oh, sorry guys, I'm getting really bad at streaming this. I need to quit becoming a streamer. Oh, I must have coughed and then forgot to unmute it. Right, I was talking down the entire approach, like I always do, giving you nice tips and facts, and you didn't hear a word of it. You just got to witness brilliance, that's all I'm going to say. Basically, LDA approach, you can see how it was slightly offset. Alright. Slightly offset, disconnected, recycled the flight directives, because the guidance is offset, you know, it's no good for you. And I was saying, another butter, you know, just can't teach it, it's usual banter. And then, just because basically the mic mute button on my microphone stopped working, so I assigned a button on Streamlabs to mute the mic, and because I keep coughing, I mute the mic, and then I obviously, when I finish my coughing fit, I then unmute it, but sometimes I'm forgetting to do that, and then you're witnessing complete silence on the approach. I need to look at chat more, but it's really hard to look at chat when you're hand flying a tricky approach. I can't interact. Right, it's just, I just want to feel better. I just want to be better, 100%. And it was such a nice approach. I don't even know where I'm going. Where am I going? Where can I fit a 737? That looks all GAE. Yeah, there's an air bridge. Go there. Oh dear. Basically, yeah. I didn't need to talk. Just watch. Oh no, we'll leave that on for a bit. Right. Sitka, first dive here. We arrived in silence. I need to do something to there must be a way. So Streamlabs needs to have like a big flag up in front of me saying mute mic. Yeah, I need a momentary mute switch. Yeah, it's a good idea actually. Oops, get that AP up and running. I've just seen a fuel tanker drive into that building. What's that flag? Is this stock scenery? Why is there a flag there? Stand number 1. What else have I forgot to do? See how we get on tomorrow, Microsoft Flight Sim. No, there's no gate guidance. Oops, slightly offline. Push to cough. Oh, what happened there? That was a bit buggy. There we go. Right, parking brake set. APU's going to come up any second. We'll at least turn off engine number 2. Perfect. On bus, 2 blues. Oh god, sim's got a bit glitchy. There we are, only GPU's available. We'll leave it on the APU. Seatbelt sign off. We'll do the full shutdown flow now because it's the last flight of the day. We're going to overnight here and carry on tomorrow. Fuel pumps off. Window heat off. Anti-coal off. New Skyline's closed flight. Let charge. Oh, the sim's gone a bit weird. And we'll do a shutdown checklist. Oh, my mouse has gone really weird. Oh, it's gone really glitchy. What is going on? I can't even
shutdown
click on
checklist.
That. There we go.
Fuel pump.
X-plane's gone a bit weird. Yeah, I've got one for the APU.
Electrical.
APU on the bus.
It's definitely X-plane, because when I move my mouse cursor to a different window, it's fine.
Probe heat.
Off.
Anti-ice.
My weather radar
electric hydraulic
is off,
pump.
yes.
Off.
Voice recorders.
Auto.
Air conditioning packs.
Auto.
Engine bleed.
On.
APU bleed.
Yeah, X-plane's got really weird.
Exterior
the
lights.
mouse cursor's not moving correctly.
Start switches.
Off.
Auto brake.
My second window is
Off.
fine.
Speed brake.
Down D10.
Flaps.
Up, no lights.
Parking brake.
Set.
Start levers.
Cut off.
Weather radar.
Off.
Transponder.
Not again.
Oops.
Stand by.
CVR circuit breaker.
In.
Cockpit door.
I can't even move the... Whoa! I can't even move... Oh, explain. Really? I can't even move the round properly. It's gone really weird. It's gone really buggy. Like, I can't... Like, the mouse cursor's not moving and it properly, and I can't actually look around. What the hell's happened? I've never seen this before.
Complete.
But if I use my numpad, it's fine. Right, there we go. Oh, something's really gone buggy in X-Plane. Like the mouse cursor's just not moving properly at all. Right, at least if I move out the sim, I can try something else. So let's have a look at New Sky. No! My perfect 10 rec. No! 9.94. I was off centre line. Oh, by 36 centimetres. Oh no! Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh, that's 10 out of 10. Was it 3 times in a row, 4 times in a row, and then I got a 9.94. No way. Oh dear, oh dear. But I was off centre line. There was no wind. I think because of the LDA, I was a bit lazy getting onto the centre line. So actually, when I came over the threshold, I wasn't completely lined up. I was slightly sort of pointing to the left, so it looked like I was sort of crabbing a bit, but there was no wind at all. I'll try a replay, see what happens. Let's just see what you guys were saying on the approach. Wonderful, quiet stream. Lol, lol. But yeah, that doesn't help me. You did say Mike in chat. Yeah, someone did say that, to be fair, but I was missing it. Dead Mike. Ah, where was it from? Oh, it was from the entire approach. Oh, AMSR stream. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, it's just the cold. It's just the cold. Right, anyway. I need to somehow terminate everything here. Oh, mouse cursor. Oh, it's gone so jerky. So jerky. Right, enjoyed that though, guys. I really did. And the mod had its moments though. That second sector, especially VNAV, had a right wonky time. But once we got past the final approach fix, fine. Pitch and power was good. Landing flare and takeoff, all the nice things I like about X-Plane worked out really well. And it was the latest version of the mod as well here. But this is all stock scenery. The scenery in where it was before, Ketchikan. I keep mispronouncing this place. That was with Northern Sky Studio, and I've got 2 of their sceneries, both here and in our first sector tomorrow to Juneau, and then I don't actually have scenery for Anchorage, so maybe I'll just stick with stock Microsoft Flight Sim, which I know is goddamn awful, but we'll have to see how it goes, and we can compare the 2 sims, how they are at the moment as well. How did ZIBO rate it? What are you on about? All the gear? No idea. ZIBO, who hasn't got a rating. Fine. Oh, honestly, my mouse cursor. Excellent and excellent. ZIBO ranked me 10 stars out of 10. Thank you very much on that last approach. Need you ask any more questions? That is absolutely wonderful. Just, yes. That's what you wanted to see. That's 10 out of 10. Approach excellent, landing excellent. ZIBO is chuffed. Right, I think it's going to crash. Okay, when I try the replay, I think it's going to crash. So let me turn off what I can here. I'll start the replay music, but it did earlier. Let me try. I can't even get the mouse. Oh, the mouse cursor's now working. Okay. So if I hold this down in long replay time, it will get there, but it takes too long. So as soon as I drag it, it will crash. I'll just drag it slow. There you go. As soon as I drag it, boom, crash. There you go. It's just, they need to fix that. Because I'm not going to stand here for 5 minutes. It's only twice the normal speed. So as soon as you drag the mouse cursor, instant crash, even if you push backwards in X-Plane. Great. Anyway, guys, that sort of ends a turbulent stream, really, with everything. So once again, apologies for the mute moments whilst I was coughing. And then my lack of short-term memory for failing me to then unmute the mic. And at least you got to enjoy a glorious approach as a spectator with no commentary from me. Some people might have enjoyed it, perhaps. So I do apologise for those moments. And also the cold chest infection I have, which has led to me coughing way too much, not like to. But I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Nice 2 sectors to cover the start of this 2-sector stream, which is going to conclude tomorrow when we arrive in Anchorage as well. But yeah, feeling fine. We just streamed for 3.5 hours. I'm not losing my voice. I feel good. So yeah, much later stream tomorrow, 8 PM, so a few more people will be able to jump in. But we'll be in the PMDG 737 for that one, with the scenery from our friend at Northern Sky Studio from Oleg as well. So thanks for jumping in. Thanks to all the gifted members. I'm trying to remember. I did make a note of actually who did that here. Where's my notes? Aaron Flood, thank you for the 5 gifted members today, and also to Sign Attack for your generous donation as well, who wanted me to cover the Milk Run for quite some time. So it's good, fun to have finally done that today. To all the regular viewers and subscribers, thanks for popping in, and like the video if you'd like to support the channel. And to all the regular members, thank you very much for your continued support too. I'll see you all tomorrow, 8 PM. PM for the second day and the Alaska Milk Run. Take care, guys. See you soon. Cheerio.